Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are back to another episode of the new to Retro Review podcast. This is episode 4, and it is a very special episode because I have two good buddies with me. We are going to be talking about fighting games, everything about them from the community, the games themselves, fight sticks, what have you. I'd like to introduce you to my buddies Jeff.
Yo.
And my buddy Curtis.
Why am I here?
Why are any of us here? Isn't that the great mystery?
Always.
I've asked these guys to be here because Jeff has a long history with fighting games because he's a little bit older than Curtis and I, and he's been to some big things, and Curtis is just like learns and absorbs everything he can when it comes to fighting games, and they're the best guys for it. Plus, nobody else wanted to do it, so
seriously, you have me on here because I'm the old man.
Yes. And you're not
little old man.
Oh man.
Oh my god, so we're off to a good start anyway, already. But yeah, no, so like I said, fighting games has been the thing that's out there that people live and breathe for, like more than a lot of other video games, and it's always been interesting, especially to see like how it's evolved from the early days of the arcades. So I guess, starting right off the bat, I guess we'll start with you, Jeff. What got you into fighting games? How did you discover them?
Fighting games started back on the Super Nintendo, Street Fighter 2. A friend of mine had gotten it, and we had already played it at like a local round table pizza. We had played it and we're like, oh, this is awesome. This is simple. It's not too hard. Like nobody could throw a fucking fireball. Nobody even knew what a dragon punch was at the time. So, I was playing Guile, and I'm like, so I just hold and then push a button, push the button. And you're really young at the time, so you're like, okay, this doesn't seem too hard. And then you figure out like little tick throws and stuff like that as the days go on. So the first one that I played was actually the original Street Fighter 2. It wasn't Champion Edition yet. That came in a little bit later.
Yeah, you mean like the OG one, like the original?
Yeah,
World Warrior.
The original Street Fighter 2, the World Warrior, with your 8 characters, and it was something of a novel idea at the time because you're literally head to head against somebody. You're looking at them. You're starting to get this little bit of swagger when you're finally starting to do the special moves on your own without having to look at the damn joystick and going, "What the hell's that? What's this? What's this?" But yeah, I mean, I started with Street Fighter 2 in the arcade, played it on Super Nintendo, and then Champion Edition came out, and I even played. This is probably one of the worst versions of the game to play is the Sega Genesis version of Champion Edition. At the time,
I had that.
I still have like 3 copies of it because you go through all your crappy games and you're like, why do I still have this? But it was interesting because at the time we only had the 3-button controller. The 6-button controller was brand new at the time, so you had to push the start button to switch between punches and kicks, and that did not work very well on a Genesis. It just didn't. And then you played games on the Super Nintendo. You're like, I have all 6 buttons that I need to press. I personally think that the Super Nintendo version, the sounds were a lot better. It sounded like a garbled mess on the Genesis, especially when it came up to Super Street Fighter 2. It just sounded horrible to me. And
wasn't there in particular with the Genesis versions of Street Fighter, even if you had the 6-button deal, wasn't there some because of the inferior hardware compared to the Super Nintendo, at least in certain circumstances, wasn't it like combo strings were tighter or something like that? I remember it was like a lot more tough to just do even simple actions.
At the time, I can't say whether it was or not. I mean, you adjusted it on the fly. Like most games today, you can feel the lag or what have you. Back in those days, if it didn't work, you tried again and again and again, and eventually you just adjusted to it. So there might have been some kind of inherent lag maybe in the 6-button controller, which I couldn't tell either because I don't think we had, when I finally did have a 6-button controller on the Genesis, I don't think it was an actual Sega one. It might have been an off-brand because you broke kids and not You ain't going out there getting that brand new Sega 6-button controller for $59.99. So
Yeah, true.
so you just kind of adjusted, and the Super Nintendo to me just felt like the better system. It just felt like there was nothing wrong with it. Like you could go to the arcade and play, and you could come back and you could play on an SNES pad, and you didn't feel like you missed anything. So yeah, it was Street Fighter 2, the original, in the arcade and on the SNES that got me into fighting games.
Cool. All right, that's good. I mean, I kind of figured that's like a lot of people's entrance for it and everything. But so, Curtis, tell us your story of fighting games. How you got into it? Like, how'd you discover them?
Well, like most things, how my family worked on both sides is that they kind of just gave us whatever game that they could either buy or rent at the time. But I was too young to comprehend it. But the one game that I remember that truly got me into fighting games, that not only me but my sisters too, was actually the Darkstalkers, the Night Warriors on PlayStation. That's the one I remember being old enough to understand basic concepts like Dimitri's fireball, basically the basic Ryu character of the game and all that, and just being hooked near instantly to Darkstalkers over any other fighting game. Because even at that time, we still had Super Nintendo and Genesis. I remember we specifically had like Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 on Genesis with the 3-button controller. I even remember uh freaking Killer Instinct on Super Nintendo. We had Street Fighter 2, but we didn't want to play it cuz Darkstalkers was the better game, and both me and my sisters could fully understand it. That was my big entry into fighting games to really get started, and it just like one game after another. And I remember in particular the next game we all played, and especially me played a lot of, was actually Tekken 2.
Ah, okay, yeah. Tekken was interesting back in the day.
Well, yeah, it was weird because the main experience we had, of course, was the PlayStation game. Uh, like when it, not necessarily when it came out. I remember it was like 97, 98 when we played on PlayStation.
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden at the local rec center, there was a Tekken 2 arcade machine. And I specifically remember how the inputs worked. And then I, being a young kid, being able to understand that, like, okay, on a controller, this button does this exactly like how my character Law was. So I emulated it, and I literally, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but that's how I learned how to beat people older than me at Tekken 2. Because I remember this button on a controller, and then it does this on the arcade cabinet. So I literally emulated it, just like processing of like this does this does that.
Hmm. Interesting. That's a good story too, actually, because said I didn't think it'd be like that far ahead. Like where like it's like something like Darkstalkers. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, Darkstalkers, it came at the right time, I would say, for me and my sisters, especially me.
Yeah, that explains your extreme love for the thing. Because for like known you for like over 10 years now and everything, and like that's like been like your number one love of fighting games. Pretty much has been that and like Killer Instinct.
Yeah, Darkstalkers and Killer Instinct for sure.
Well, you're a
'Cause even
horror
on
guy too, so it also makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like there's a lot of thematics of horror with Darkstalkers, and well, especially Darkstalkers, because it was going to be a basically a universe of like horror monster icons all in one, but then it turned to be its own thing, and it benefited.
Hmm.
So
Oh, that's good. That's a good one. I guess for my story, it's kind of the same as Jeff's in terms of what game it was, but for me, it was the OG Street Fighter, the World Warrior one. That was the one that I discovered, and it wasn't on like a console or anything like that. It was actually at a campsite. I was about like 5 years old. I think this happened because yeah, like it had when it had debuted. Yeah, it was like already the summertime by the time it came here to America, and My family and I and like family friends of ours would go to this place up in, I think it was New Hampshire or Maine, and it was a campground where you kind of just drove your stuff in there. You rented a spot, and it's like really just rural and all that stuff. You have fire pits and all that jazz. You have rivers that you can float down, like not like man-made ones. They were just like from nature itself. So it was really cool. So there was a long path that like led through these trees that went up to this giant ass barn on a hill, and that was the like kind of like what would you call it there, where you check in to the campgrounds and everything. So there was a rec room. Me and my buddy Luke, we went in and we saw like all the arcade machines. Like there was tons of pinball machines. They had like air hockey tables, and air hockey, obviously that's always a big draw for any kind of place that has machines like that. But then I saw these people crowded around this arcade cabinet, and I was like, well, what the hell is this? And I go up there and I see this dude with a broom on his head. That's the first thing I thought when I saw Guile. I was like, motherfucker's got a broom on his head. And I see him fighting Blanca, and I'm like, wait, what the hell is this? Like, this is crazy. And like they're duking it out on Guile's stage, and that fucking music is pumping. I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. So like, remember these older kids were there and shit like that, and they would actually like let us play, like they would let us challenge them and shit. And it was just, I wasted so many of my freaking coins, my quarters for that, because my god, the game was just so addicting. Like when you'd never played anything like, because at that time, I'm used to playing like, games from the NES and everything, and the Super Nintendo, and a lot of Game Boy stuff too. And it was just unreal, like seeing how it all like flowed. And like much like Jeff said in his story, nobody really knew how to do fireballs and like do like any charge moves and stuff. You just played and mashed and hope you did something. And it was just really such a interesting game, and I was there for hours, like forever. Like I was there all day because my buddy had decided to go back to get something to eat, and by the time I ran out of quarters, it was nighttime. And I'm like, shit, I gotta walk back. And so I'm starting to walk back, and I realize how dark it's getting. And I'm like, uh-oh. I can't see barely. And then like the night game, I was scared shitless, man. But it was worth it. It was totally worth it though, to discover that. And then, a couple months later, my buddy who would always rent like video games ended up bringing Street Fighter over my house because he rented it. And I was like, oh wait, like I played this on vacation, like this is great. And just from there, I just developed a love of fighting games, because then like other ones like Tekken were coming out, like a couple of years later. And obviously, things like Killer Instinct, playing that back in the day was always interesting too, because it's just like seeing like the graphical difference between like Killer Instinct and Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter was always interesting. And those were the games that like really got me. I was just like, wow, this is like a whole different thing. Now everybody's trying to make these. So like I said, yeah, Street Fighter 2 was my first time, honestly, with a fighting game, and it's what pulled me right in. Because I mean, let's face it, like everything about Street Fighter 2 was amazing, and it was Capcom's #1 selling game of all time up until recently, when Monster Hunter World just beat it.
I thought Resident Evil 5 also took it at one point.
No, I think Street Fighter 2 still had it, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Resident Evil 5, I think, did well, but nowhere near. It could not have beaten out Street Fighter 2. I mean, Street Fighter, they don't even say Street Fighter 2 anymore. They just say Street Fighter as a whole has sold whatever. Like, it's now just the franchise themselves. So the Resident Evil franchise itself may be catching up to Street Fighter with the lackluster sales of Street Fighter 5 and the incredible sales of Resident Evil 7 and our remake 2.
Yeah.
But hey, as much as you hate that game, it sold. That's what Capcom cares about. They don't care about whether you like it or not. They care about whether they made money, and they made money. So
they made money, all right.
And so that's why we get remake 3. And that's probably why we'll probably be getting a Devil May Cry 6, because Devil May Cry 5 made money. So that's what we need to is just go as a franchise. Resident Evil is doing well. Devil May Cry is doing well. Street Fighter is
their whole fighting game division is just
yeah. At this point, if you don't give me, I'll talk about that game after we get into the favorite fighting games and stuff.
Yeah.
But one specific fighting game from the PlayStation era that ran on PlayStation hardware in the arcade. We'll talk about that in a bit. But it's one of those things where Street Fighter is a household name. Resident Evil is a household name. Devil May Cry is a household name. You got to think about all these different companies out there. What company, like when you say Square Enix, I mean, I still don't I don't really say Square Enix. I still say fucking Square or Squaresoft for some reason. I'm old. That's what happens. But you
Yeah.
think Final Fantasy. When you say Enix, you think either Dragon Quest or, something along those lines.
That's true, yeah.
But Capcom is one of the only companies. I mean, I don't like being that pro Capcom, but it is one of the only companies where you can have multiple, and I mean multiple icons.
Oh yeah.
Like you got Mega Man, you've got Street Fighter, we've just went through a list of it already.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to it, you look at other companies like Nintendo. It's very comparable to that, where Nintendo has all these icons, Capcom has all these icons, and that for me is what makes like the fighting games that come out of Capcom's development make me go ooh, and then a month or so later go oh.
Yeah.
That's very true. So yeah, but we'll move on to favorite fighting game, and Jeff, we'll go with you because you seem to already have one fired up and ready to go.
Okay, so like I said, PlayStation hardware, arcade cabinet, Rival Schools United by Fate.
Yep, I knew it was gonna be that.
So the first time I had played Rival Schools, it was actually after I had bought Pocket Fighter.
Oh Jesus.
If you buy the Japanese version of Pocket Fighter for the PlayStation, it came with a Rival Schools demo. I played the crap out of that demo. It only had a few characters. Well, actually, I think you could play as Batsu or Roy.
I think it was Batsu. I think it was him.
Yeah. So you could only play that. It had amazing music. The mechanics were sound. Like I loved the tardy counters. I loved the fact that the game flowed so naturally and it looked good. Well, it looked good at the time. Okay. It didn't age well, but it looked good at the time. But that is probably one of my favorite fighting games. Just because of the risk that they took, the aesthetics, the school tie-in, I recommend if you don't know what this game is, I recommend if you're listening to this and you don't know what this game is, look it up. The opening animated cutscene is pretty awesome, and for the time that the game came out, it was mind-blowing because you didn't really have anime opening cutscenes at the time. Because it came out pre Mega Man X4.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, it was like I think a year prior or so, or maybe like a year, because it was like 95. Well, no, the 97 was Mega Man X4, I believe. Rival Schools was 95, if I remember correctly, or 96.
Yeah, it was right around there,
Yeah.
and it was a really well done game at the time. I mean, it has sequels. It has a second PlayStation game. It has Project Justice, which is still to this day one of the best Dreamcast games.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
I'm literally looking at Rival Schools. I never played it. It does have Sakura, so I'll give it that.
That's why I'm surprised you never played it, because your girl's in it.
I never had the chance to, because tell you the truth, I've never seen, other than pictures on like Google, I don't think I've ever seen like an actual like copy to even rent, let alone buy. Tell you the truth.
It's not exactly a common game. I mean, if you look it up on eBay, it's probably going for a good amount of money.
Oh yeah, like any Rival School game and everything like that. They're, oh my god, those games are going for a lot. I mean, a lot of old Capcom games are like the obscure ones. I mean, look at like Haunting Ground and stuff. But it's true. Like Rival Schools was so different, and it never got put on the Sega Saturn, did it?
No, it never got a Saturn release because it was made on PlayStation hardware.
Right.
It's roughly around $70 CIB.
That's not bad.
No, that's actually worth picking up. $7
because that's gonna shoot up.
And then just to get the disc, it's about like 20, 25, give or take.
Dude,
well, there were 2 discs.
There's 2 discs.
There's 2 discs.
Oh, never mind then.
Well, still $25.
In the Japanese version, the second disc was called the Evolution disc. The disc actually had a board game that you played and you actually created your own create character off of what you did in the board game. So you could get Batsu's move, you could get Roy's move, you could combine all these awesome moves into one school character. The American version cut all that out because they didn't want to translate it, and the evolution disc for America, you can unlock pre-made characters.
Nice.
So the Japanese one, if you can read Japanese, that second disc is like loaded full of awesome content.
It seems cheaper to get it in Japanese. I'll probably pick it up down the road.
It is cheaper to get it for Japan.
Yeah,
and usually it's in much better shape too.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
All right, so so that's your favorite one. Any runner-ups that like take second or third place?
I'll save that for the fighting games you love but not getting hyped about.
Right.
Yeah, we'll save that for later.
Okay. All right then, Curtis, you're up then.
All right, so it's gonna be really hard to literally just choose one, but if I honestly had to pick one off the top of my head, like a favorite, oh shit, which one do I even choose? Because like it's very mood dependent, because as much as I want to say Melee, Smash Ultimate is honestly, at least at this time, the superior game to play, because Melee to me, it's not because like Mango Nation hype and all that bullshit. What it really comes down to is like the reason why I love Melee so much. It's not because like, oh, it's so technical, oh, it's so fast and all that. It's because it started a lot for me and my sisters yet again. It was like the game to play, and even when we still get together, me and one of my sisters are always like, we're playing Melee. Like, especially during the Brawl days, like we played Brawl basically for one day and we barely played it and just kept playing nothing but Melee. But again, it's hard for me to choose Melee over Ultimate and same vice versa, because Ultimate, it feels better to play. It has obviously the most impressive roster in any fighting game to date, and it has a lot of characters that I wanted, especially King K. Rool. But at the end of the day, it's just those two. It's very mood dependent, and it's hard just to choose a number one favorite. That's why I gotta honestly share that spot with those two, because Ultimate is like obviously the better game to play, but Melee holds more at my heart for me and my sisters and a lot of my friends, honestly.
Oh, that's
was
totally understandable.
Yeah, and it's just, you know, like I've been playing a lot of Melee as of late, and yeah, it's a bit rough to play, especially casually, but it's still fun. Like the speed and everything, and the shenanigans of like how buggy and whatever the glitches and all the nonsense. It's a very enduring game for a reason, and that's why I got to share the spot with Melee and Smash Ultimate.
All right, that's good. I like that. That's good. I mean, I thought personally, I thought like it was gonna be like a Killer Instinct or Darkstalkers in many ways. I know how much you loved like Melee and stuff, but I like that. I like that.
Well, the reason why I didn't give it to Darkstalkers is because, like, yeah, for getting me into fighting games, it was great. But the thing of it is like I didn't play Darkstalkers 3 till like 2003 on the PlayStation. And even then, it was like for a limited time. Honestly, most of my playtime for Darkstalkers 3 was on Darkstalkers Resurrection when that debuted.
Gotcha. All right, well, it's still like good choices and everything. Like, I'm glad we all have like very different ones, because it'd be kind of boring if you all have the same. Even if there was a good story behind it, it's still good. So I guess for mine, this is a tough one, but I narrowed it down to this, and my personal favorite fighting game of all time is Onimusha Blade Warriors.
What?
Why? Because you can play Mega Man EXE. Is that why?
and Mega Man Zero. You can't forget him.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
It's not a horrible game. It's not a horrible.
It's not as horrible as people try to make it out to be, but it's definitely not my favorite. That was just a joke, but it really isn't that bad of it. I mean, my friends and I played a hell of a lot of it back in the day on the PS2. That was actually one we did play a lot, which was kind of weird. I think it actually was because of the Mega Man characters and shit, but But for my all-time favorite one, though, my all-time favorite fighting game, my favorite one is definitely Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I'm not saying that because it's the 20th anniversary this year and it just passed for the Japanese one, but I don't know, man. That just like was a culmination of everything Capcom had been working on since like Children of the Atom, because you had everything from like Children of the Atom, Marvel superheroes, then of course the big one, X-Men versus Street Fighter, which like blew people's dicks off back in the 90s, and then the lesser known and loved Marvel superheroes versus Street Fighter was another one, and then obviously Marvel versus Capcom 1. But 2 just was everything. Like that was amazing to play back in the day. Like that roster is legendary. Now, obviously, there's a lot of people who just use like the same team that's like busted as hell. We all know that. But there's been people recently. I think it's because of the hype for it being back in Evo. I've been going online and playing a little bit of it, and it was crazy. Like I was finding people using all these different teams. I was barely running into the Storms and the Sentinels and Magnetos and all that stuff. I was kind of, surprised by that.
I would not be surprised if you ran into a Dalsum.
Actually, I did on one match. I was kind of surprised. They were good. But yeah, no, MVC2 was just everything because all these characters that like I grew up with Capcom were there, and all these characters from Marvel that like I grew up watching because of all the cartoons that were back in the day and everything, plus those games themselves. It was just amazing. All these like characters that could come together for a team, and playing it on the Dreamcast was a lot of fun. I spent a good time playing it on the PS2, which is probably the worst version of the game.
Oh, nope, God. Xboxes.
Wait, really?
Xbox version is worse.
I thought that would have been at least second best next to Dreamcast.
No. The Xbox version ranks lower than the PS2 version. If you for one specific instance, if you did not have the Dreamcast version, they were using the PlayStation 2 version. Although that was still frowned upon. If you were not using the Dreamcast version, you were just shouldn't been using any version at all.
Yeah. Well, but, because like Dreamcast like somewhat ran things arcade port perfect, like almost as good.
It was arcade perfect. It's the Naomi board.
That's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. You told me that a couple while back.
Yeah, it is arcade perfect because it's built on that system.
Yeah. But
although I think in mind, if it wouldn't have been, I think deadass we would have still had, even at Evo 2009, the arcade machine. I think, to tell you the truth. I don't know, maybe that's actually one thing in particular. Like it kind of makes me wonder, like, what if the Dreamcast had wasn't perfect, but obviously it was going to be perfect. It had not just the hardware for the Dreamcast in mind, but even those who were making fighting games still back in the day for the arcade units, they of course had it in mind for the Naomi, and what was the other machine, or was it just Naomi for Dreamcast stuff?
The Naomi was the Dreamcast hardware. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because even the Soul Calibur was actually better on Dreamcast, if I remember correctly, over its arcade counterpart.
Yeah, Soul Calibur ran very smoothly on the Dreamcast.
Oh yeah, it did.
Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on the Dreamcast was a work of art. That's exactly what it was. It still is a work of art. Like the pixels, even if they don't look quite right on today's TVs, there's still something to look at it and admire.
Exactly. And that was one of the big draws to that game, was just how beautiful it looked. Because that was the one thing Capcom did right, and a lot of fighting games did right back in the old days, was actually give backgrounds personality to them, and like they cared about how good they looked. I mean, like I said, Marvel superheroes, that game looks friggin' beautiful, those backgrounds. X-Men versus Street Fighter, same thing, like later Versus series games, or even later fighting games in general, they don't really have that feel of where like you're actually in tight, you feel like you're drawn in just by the background alone. King of Fighters did that really good up until the newer one. The last one they put out on the PS3 and 360, the backgrounds were insane on that. But MVC2 did a good job with their backgrounds, even though I fucking hate that clown level. the carnival.
That's what I was thinking too. I hate the clown.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm literally looking at the clown level right now. I don't know. I have a pleasing aesthetic with it because it kind of reminds me of that episode in Cowboy Bebop with that Lapeer or whatever.
Oh yeah, the dude that kicks the crap out of Spike.
Yeah, that's why I have a personal affinity of like enjoying it. I can understand why some people
Fair.
don't like it.
I can respect that.
Yeah, it's just I think of Cowboy Bebop every time I see it.
Yeah, I mean, like the thing is, yeah, like the stage selection was kind of low in MVC2, which is what I always noticed. But what I loved was certain levels got different like aesthetics to them, like things happened differently, like the swamp level. You know, like how like it could be like just like dead, and then all of a sudden like you would go and play it again, and it would just be like all like this lively like pink aura to it and all that stuff. That was great. Even the cave level is kind of basic, but it still looks great. And the ice level too, which is one of my favorites, is awesome. And music obviously is legendary, but they didn't give. This is one of the things I think was like one of the few drawbacks to MVC2 was the fact that there was no character theme. Something that had been what made a lot of characters back in the day was their themes.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, overall, like MVC2, it's my favorite just for that reason. Like I think like a close runner up for that would probably be like, I don't know, I'd have to say maybe like Tekken 3, because that game is just fucking and much like MVC2 all these years later, it still looks great. Anything, backgrounds were actually a thing in that game. They thought they put real, I mean, they always put thought into backgrounds in Tekken, I feel, and a lot of old fighting games. Like I said, newer ones this day and age, they just don't, like, unless you're Killer Instinct. I think Killer Instinct did a good job of, like the newer one for Xbox and PC, they did good with that. But yeah, no, that's my favorite one.
Yeah, they did great work for that one.
So I guess the next one we're moving on to is favorite fighting game franchise. So I guess Jeff, we'll go for you with that.
Oh man, that's kind of rough because I'm a big Street Fighter fan.
Yep,
I'm a huge Street Fighter fan. But honestly, when it comes down to it, Street Fighter V has disillusioned me really, really hard. I am looking forward to Street Fighter 6 if it happens, and I'm sure it'll be a launch title for PS5 because God knows Capcom cannot have a launch title system. I guess I just have to say Street Fighter, even though I really want to say Battle Arena Toshinden.
Ooh.
Oh, that's a fucking classic right there. The first game.
Toshinden sold the PlayStation to me. The first time
the first PlayStation.
The very first PlayStation, when I saw those characters moving on a 3D plane like that, sidestepping. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but watching those characters at that point in my life going, wow, this is the new generation coming from the Super Nintendo. You're coming up in the world at this point. So I want to say Battle Arena Toshinden just because of the risks that it took as a fighting game and the fact that it died just as quick as it came.
Yeah. Yeah.
True.
That's true. Because they only had like 2 games?
They had 4, I believe. They had Battle Arena 1, they had Toshinden 1, 2, 3, and Ura for the Saturn, I think. They may have had 1 on the Game Boy or Game Boy Advance.
I wouldn't be surprised. There were fighting games. There was actually a lot of fighting games on the Game Boy series.
I know they had the 4 I know of are the 1, 2, and 3 on the PlayStation and the Saturn version.
Mm-hmm.
And it has an anime.
Yes, it does have an anime.
Oh, gee, I forgot about that.
I believe it's just a movie though.
Oh, okay.
Because that was the time when all the fighting games were getting movies. We got the Street Fighter 2 movie, we got the Fatal Fury movies.
Oh, those are so good.
Yeah, I love the Fatal Fury movies. I mean, I'm not gonna say that I paused it during the My Transformation, but I paused it during the
You wore out that pause button.
I did. I wore out that pause button.
Oh my god.
And Mai was gorgeous in that anime though. She was drawn the way you wanted her drawn.
See, kids, what you have to understand is this was back in the 90s, so YouTube wasn't a thing. We had to suffer. We had tapes. We had VHSs and DVDs and laser discs.
Look that one up, kids. VHS.
I remember VHSs.
I remember paying $49.99 at Suncoast for my first hentai.
Oh God. That's actually a funny thing. I remember a voice actor talking about anime and how expensive it used to be on VHSs back in the day.
Oh yeah, I remember buying Wicked City. What was one of the first VHS I had ever bought was the Ranma movies on VHS.
Yep.
Fatal Fury movies on VHS. It was at that time you had to pay attention too because there were different versions of the movie on VHS, like Street Fighter 2.
Yeah, they were censored, right?
Yeah, there were censored versions. So if you bought the wrong one, you were really angry.
Yeah, you don't get to see that like cool Chun-Li shower scene in Street Fighter 2.
Exactly. If you did not get kids, we're listen to Uncle Jeff. The Chun-Li shower scene is a coming of age thing. If you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor, please, and do Uncle Jeff a favor. Go watch that shower scene.
I think it's actually on YouTube. Like the full movie's on YouTube, so it hasn't been banned yet or whatever. But
and then go watch her beat the shit out of Vega.
Still one of like the best fight scenes.
And what I liked about that though was I loved the American soundtrack. It was hard to beat.
Oh, because they had like Alice in Chains and shit like that.
Yes, they did. They had KMFDM, Alice in Chains. Ken's driving down the freeway listening to Them Bones.
Yeah. Ah! I remember that. And there was a Capcom truck that drove by him too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I was like, oh, the product placement, advertising. They in your own movie. I'm not surprised.
I'm sorry, we're getting off topic. We knew this was going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to happen with us. We'll definitely talk about that like in a later one though, for sure.
I'll just say one quick thing because Jeff was mentioned about like the good old days of like VHSs and whatnot. Shout outs. It doesn't matter if a shout out, but do you guys know of King of Smut 95?
No.
So there's a big story. It's on Happy Console Gamer. I put it for us on the Discord, but for anyone listening, go to Happy Console Gamer, King of Smut 95. It's a big history lesson of like the old days of.
Wait a minute, wasn't that the guy that Johnny would go and buy like all of his imported anime from?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I remember that now. Sorry, that took me a second.
Yeah, but I just wanted to throw that out there because it reminded me of that.
All right, so that's Jeff's favorite fighting game franchise. Again, we got a little off topic, but that happens with us. You know, we're old. We lose track. We're all like Abe Simpson at this point.
Exactly.
So Curse, what's your favorite fighting game franchise?
Just like trying to pick a favorite game, it's hard for me to say because, like, as much as I want to say Smash, the thing of it is like when I say a franchise, I have to have consistent fun with almost every game. Now with Smash, 64 was good, Melee was god, Brawl was shit, Wii U and 3DS was shit, and Ultimate is god. That's not a pretty good track record, but this might be a bit different, but honestly, I haven't found a game that I don't like out of the main franchise. Honestly, it's Soul Calibur.
Hmm.
And the reason for it is because literally it doesn't matter if it's even 5 or 3. Every Soul Calibur I've ever played, I've enjoyed. I thoroughly enjoyed. There's nothing for me to really hate. And I love the fact that the series came back for a 6th game. Everyone's loving it. Granted, the new mechanics and everything are pretty good. I just wish it was a little bit more hardcore like Soul Calibur 2, but that's just me being picky. But other than that, it's pretty good. And although my most experience out of the entire franchise is of course Soul Calibur 2, because that's what introduced me, and mentioning this again, my sisters into Soul Calibur was the second, especially the GameCube version. That's the one I poured the most time into. I've unlocked everything in that fucking game. I did all the characters on the hardest difficulty. I remember a lot of doing a lot for that game for any other fighting game I didn't do until, of course, Melee and even Brawl. Even though I hated Brawl, I still practically did like what Space Emissary on the hardest difficulty. I got last from my memory, I almost got every single trophy.
Hmm.
And same with the stickers. But Soul Calibur to me is a franchise that you could literally pick any of them and still have a good time. Yes, even 3 and 5. Granted, I didn't play much of 3 and 5, but what I did play for probably 10 hours total, both of those games put together, it was genuinely fun, and I seriously cannot wait to dig in. I just got to be careful with Soul Calibur 3 and that save glitch or whatever. I don't even remember what it is, but I know it fucks with your memory card and save file or some bullshit like that.
Yeah, like I mean, I gotta say, like it's so weird, like how a lot of things for people, especially for fighting games, 2 seems to be where a lot of people jump into something. You know?
Soul Calibur 2 is, from my understanding, considered probably the best in the franchise. And it's not just like a hardcore mechanics or whatever. Honestly, at least from my perspective, Soul Calibur 2 is more fast paced, of course, compared to Soul Calibur 1. But in terms of like it being the Melee, the franchise, I don't think it was really the case. I know there was a big departure from Soul Calibur 4 and especially 5 because 4, I think Hilda, that spear chick, had some bullshit nonsense with her, but even then, she still was doable to deal with. Was it 4
Mm,
or 5? I don't know.
I think it
Eh,
was 5.
was it 5? I'll look into it as I'm talking.
Yeah, because I don't think she was in 4. I
No,
remember
she,
being
Four was dealing with Vader and Yoda.
Yoda and the apprentice. Yeah,
no, she was in Soul Calibur 4.
she was. Oh, okay.
Yeah, she was introduced in 4.
I don't know. I just feel like a lot of people dropped 4 after a pretty quickly. I mean, I remember being hyped for it and going to get it really early in the morning. I did play it for a decent amount of time, but 2 is where the whole franchise is at. It's just amazing from start to finish. Soul Calibur 6, the newest one, I actually really enjoyed a lot of. That was I put a lot of time into that game.
And honestly, what you and me played, especially early on, it was good. And I
Oh
know,
yeah.
like season 2, they added some, well, other than characters, they did change some things. And what I did play on PC with my brother, it was a good time.
Mm.
It still is fun to play. That's one thing that's good about Soul Calibur to me, is that oh, by the way, I think it was Soul Calibur 4 withheld this bullshit because I'm looking at some of the Evo stuff. Jesus Christ. And and no, it's just like, if that's one thing that's so good about Soul Calibur, it doesn't matter your level of skill. Anyone could literally pick it up and play it. But I think it's because, like I said, I picked up 3 and 5 and I found enjoyment out of them, even though those are clearly not the favorable ones to play. But I mean, it's just that fun and different that it's great.
Mm.
Tekken was gonna be like that for me, but I mean, Tekken 4 and 6 happened, and they're just fucking shit. So I'm sorry.
No, you're not wrong. I mean, a lot of people have those are the 2 games that people have a lot of problem with. But no, so yeah, that's a good one. I actually didn't expect Soul Calibur from you. That's a good one. I've known you for, like I said, like over 10 years. So that's good. Guess I'm a horrible friend. I don't know you as well as I thought I did. So I guess for me, for my favorite game franchise, this was hard for me because I love so many of them, and there was always like parts where I was just more like into other ones when they were coming out. And originally, like, I thought, yeah, I think it might be Dead or Alive, because I always loved DOA because that was just a fighting game you could just pick up and play, and I started playing with the second one. I played the first one later on, but 2 is where I began with that series. But DOA 2 and 3 were fantastic. Then the Ultimate ones were great for the Xbox, Ultimate 1 and 2, and 4 was good. It was all right. Like, it wasn't terrible. And then 5 was really good. And we don't talk about 6 and what that thing's happening right now.
So when you say that, do you mean it was good to play or good to play with one hand?
Both.
Okay. Just need
yeah,
to
like,
clarify that for the audience.
I remember. You remember the commercial for DOA 3 with those two dudes on the couch, and the guy's like, "Oh, she kicks high." it just reminded me of like Beavis and Butthead watching. It's like, she kicks really high.
I don't remember that commercial, but I heard mention of it.
That is literally one of the most like memorable gaming commercials of all time. But yeah, so then like I had to drop DOA because like I said I didn't play much of the first one, and the last game that just came out has completely ruined the franchise in my opinion for me. But I think the next one was gonna be Tekken, because all throughout the years my buddies and I, all the years we've played Tekken together, all of them have been tons of nostalgia, tons of memories. We've played them all, except for 6. 6 was the one that we never really played. Like, I played that when I was in England, got it when I came home from England, played it for about a week, and I was like, I'm done. I can't play this game. This is not the Tekken I wanted. And then, Tag 1 and Tag 2 were pretty good, and then 7 was great, but I gotta give this series, and much like Jeff too, I would have probably put Street Fighter, but 5's done a lot, and a lot of the other games, like where it was like Street Fighter 3 and like originally, and then Second Impact, those games not being as good as they should be. I was just like, yeah, I can't. I don't think I can choose Street Fighter. I don't think I can. So it ended up being nailed down to the Versus series. Anything, and because that the
Versus series has not just Marvel versus Capcom.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like X-Men versus Street Fighter. Marvel superheroes like Tatsunoko versus Capcom.
Oh fuck yeah, Tatsunoko versus Capcom.
I knew that would make you happy.
Well, dude, it's literally
for all 3 people out there who play it.
Yep.
Yeah,
and that's us.
Dude, freaking, I still remember how salty people were about the Wii getting it, because fucking people are like, what up, put on the PS3 and fucking 360. Shut the fuck up.
Well, dude, I mean, you can't blame them, because it's like people who played like fighting games on the Xbox 360 for years, and then like to get Street Fighter 5, they had to buy a PS4. But
or PC, but yeah, I understand that. But I mean, I'm just saying
it does make sense though, because Tatsunoko versus Capcom on the Wii, why would you do something like that, right? Like, why would you make that an exclusive? But they did, and there's just so much about all the Versus series games that were amazing to me. Not just like the culmination of the characters, but again, it's like MVC2. It's the music, it's the gameplay, it's the memories, the things I played. I remember my dad would take me to the arcades and everything, and one of the best memories I have is playing Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter, because I would actually beat the kids who were way older than I was, and I was challenging them for money. And I would walk away winning money, and my dad is just like, I'm proud of you. And I'm just like, hell yeah. Because I was winning money from these guys. It's like $1 bet a match and everything. And, like, they're just, a lot of them are just so memorable, and obviously some of them aren't as always great, but, I mean, playing MVC2 for as many years as I have, fantastic. Playing UMVC3 like for almost 10 years now. I love Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 despite how fucking broken it is.
Virgil, Morgan,
Zero,
X Factor, Sans.
Yeah, X Factor. Yeah, I love X Factor. I know it's busted, but it saved my ass a lot. But, like games like those were great, and I know that a lot of people hated MVCI. But I love that game, and I will still play it to this day, and I do, because that game is a lot of fun. Granted, yes, like the roster's crap and everything, but the online run's pretty good for the most part, and it's just the gameplay mechanics of it are a lot of fun, and I think it's one of the better Capcom fighting games we've gotten in years, but because of all the news outlets that just destroyed the fucking game before it even had a chance to breathe, no one played it, and it didn't even get a spot at Evo. That was how bad people were treating this thing. Like it didn't even have a chance. And I think if it had that Evo chance, that push, I think people would have given it a chance. Because even Street Fighter Cross Tekken had an Evo appearance, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it did. It had a team. It actually had a team tournament.
Yeah. So
at that time, I believe I teamed with somebody we were sponsoring at the time named Happy Medicine, and we almost got out of pools. I believe we lost to it was 2 top players we lost to.
Hmm.
And it was a big deal because it was like literally I lost it for us because I was trying to time out the other team, and I was like literally like less than a millimeter in difference in the life, and I was just so pissed.
Yeah, that game was very different, a very strange game and everything. But yeah, like it, I always felt that like MVCI got the raw deal, and I was just like, man, I mean, like I know tournaments are still keeping that thing alive, like it's still highly compatible out there, and that's what's really amazing. Is that, and I think that one day people are gonna turn around and realize, shit, like we didn't give this game a chance. Of course, I go online and play now, and all everybody uses is Gamora, and she's like fucking bullshit. but yeah, no, I just love everything about the Versus series because of everything that went into making them. Again, like it took a long time to get MVC3, and when they did that didn't launch to the greatest of love. I was still mad that they took away Captain America's double jump, and I'm like, you're taking away a staple move for the guy. Come on. I say that because I use Cap all the time in like the Versus series, but I know he's terrible in them. I know he is, but I love him. You gotta love that theme. But overall, yeah, no, I just love the Versus, all the Versus series that ever came out. Again, Tatsunoko versus Capcom, I didn't put a ton of time into. Curtis and I did play that a little bit back in the day, but it was different, man. I liked the character selection because it was just so balls to the wall, like out there characters you'd never think, or even a series that you would think would cross over. So
yeah, it was very odd, I will say, how the roster is for TVC, because like you especially for a lot of like, I mean, even an average anime fan are gonna have no idea what these fucking Tatsunoko people are. They're gonna have no idea who the fuck they are.
Unfortunately, you're kind of wrong about that because being from Hawaii, I knew who a lot of them were, but that's probably because it's very ingrained, like Battle of the Planets.
Yeah, I was gonna
stuff
say
like that. It's very ingrained in like us older people.
Battle of the Planets was also like on Toonami a few times, if I remember correctly, back in the day.
Yeah, like Tekkaman and stuff like that it may be a little more obscure for the majority of like, let's just the norms, but but for people who have grown up around anime or have been closely associated with it for most of their life, the Tatsunoko properties are not like obscure to us.
I didn't even know it was called Battle of Planets where some of these characters are, because I don't watch it. I just don't.
That's the thing. Like that's why I'm saying, like if you're from a place that like grew up with this stuff, it'd be like somebody saying, "Oh, Gundam," and you're like, "No, Robotech."
I didn't even know what Gundam was until I was a teen.
Like,
you uncultured swine.
Yeah, get his nerd card, rip that shit up.
Hey, this is what I get for literally living in the mountain.
Fair enough. Okay, we got to give him that.
Okay, we'll give you that.
Okay, we'll give him that.
Yeah, you definitely got to agree with that. Like Tatsunoko is I think it's the lesser loved child, and as a rival schools fan, having Batsu in that game was like icing on the cake.
Yeah, that was big. That was friggin' huge. Because again, like rival school characters don't get anything. I mean, Batsu was recently. I mean, like over the last few years, he was popping up in that Project X Zone 1 and 2 game and stuff. And, which I played the first one. It's pretty good. It just they just let every character talk. And it's like, no, don't let everybody talk. You have 13 members in your party. Like, don't give them all time to speak. Oh my god, I just want to get through this shit. I want to beat this level. But it's still a fun game. But yeah, so yeah, we'll move on. So I guess, yeah, fighting games you love, but not many get hyped about as much as others. So Jeff, I guess we'll go with you for that.
All right, this one's gonna be short and sweet. I want to say the Street Fighter EX.
Street Fighter EX.
That's
Do
one of
tell.
That's a great song for Sakura.
Street Fighter EX plus Alpha. Then there was Street Fighter EX2 plus Alpha, and then it ended with Street Fighter EX3 on the PS2. Amazing soundtracks. The visuals at the time were okay. They didn't really get better with age, not at all. Um, they tried something new in the 3D realm, and it did not go over well with a lot of people. But as much as a broken mess as it is, like you can go online and you can see some crazy combo stuff. I think that it's one of those fighting games that you can have a lot of love for. You can spend a lot of time creating your combos and stuff like that. But when it comes down to it, ain't nobody playing with you. Like
True.
it's just that simple.
Okay, that works. I own that game too, but I never put much time into it. I will admit that. So all right, Curtis, what's up for you? What's your favorite fighting game you love, but not many get hyped about?
So I could honestly put the entire franchise into this, but I want to specifically point out the second game because it was a giant step of being better in so many ways. Just the animations, character roster, music, even the gore and combo potential was vastly increased in this game, and that's Bloody Roar 2.
Ah, it is a series
So
nobody remembers.
well, yeah, that's why I could have literally put the entire franchise in there. Because granted, they did have games like from the PlayStation up to like the GameCube, PS2, and even Xbox era. But even then, it's like the second game specifically is because it it has that sequel vibe to it of what I usually call it. The sequel vibe means that when a game typically gets a sequel, they do everything better over the top, and it's just overall the better product that everyone should forget about the first game. Because literally, Bloody Roar Run, it's not that good. Like, granted, it was the first of its kind for the franchise. It still was early 3D fighting games, but the second one does everything so much better that it's just you could literally just skip the first game. And as of well, it wasn't as of late, but there's still some interesting, not necessarily oh my god, brand new tech, but combo potential in general for Blade Roar 2 is I think it's still untapped. I don't know. Like maybe there might be some random Japanese Nico video that I haven't seen just yet, but it's a pretty good game, has a lot of depth. Anyone can pick it up, and those who want to master it, it's so rewarding.
Okay.
And not many people are hyped up for it because, well, there hasn't been a new game, and as last I remember, Konami has the rights or something because it
Oh,
was
they
with
got the rights to it.
yeah, because Hudson was bought out by Konami if I remember correctly.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're never getting another
so
Bloody Roar.
I mean, hell, I would love to see a Bloody Roar in that. What was it? Even in the Metal Gear Solid 5 engine to use, whatever it was called.
Oh,
Damn,
the
that would be
Fox
so
engine.
dope. Yeah, that'd be so dope to see the gore and everything that they could do. Honestly, they could even do some cool details that they could have scratch marks and depths to the gore and everything. Like
Yeah, I
literally, if
mean,
someone bites you, you could see chunks of flesh out. They could do. There is potential. It's just Konami's not going to do it.
yeah, I mean, like DOA does that already, like with the bruises and the dirt and the sweat and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
it's not like it's not possible. But again, Konami, if it's not a phone game or pachinko machine, they don't give a fuck.
Even I'm surprised there isn't a Bloody Roar pachinko machine. Hell, to
I just
tell you
think,
the truth.
yeah, that's true. I mean, that is really true. They probably forget that they have the rights to it.
Yeah, more than likely.
All right, so let's see. So for my one that doesn't receive a lot of love, I guess it would be Power Rangers, but not Battle for the Grid, because that does get a lot of love, and that's a great fucking fighting game. I'm talking about the one for the Super Nintendo.
Wait, which one for
The
Super
fighting
Nintendo?
edition?
Yeah,
That's not a bad game. That's actually a lot of fun.
right? It is a lot of fun. It's so fucking good. I remember when I first discovered that game, it was at a Blockbuster. I was going to rent Super Nintendo games because it was Friday night, and that's what you did back in the 90s, kids. You went and rented your games and such. You didn't stream them from your consoles. Oh my god, we've just dated ourselves. Holy shit, we're old. But yeah, like the Power Rangers Fighting Edition is great because I was just like, oh, it's a fighting game. Oh, okay, I'll play this. And I'm like, oh my god, it's like Street Fighter. There's Street Fighter moves in it. Holy shit, this is great. And there was like a locking system where like you would clash and they would like clash hands together and you had to like mash the buttons to overpower the other guy. And Goldar and Lord Zed were fucking tough as shit in that game. Like they were good. I always use the Ninja Megazord because that's my favorite. But that's a game that like I talk about and people are like, wait, don't you mean the beat 'em up games? I was like, no, this was the third one that they made. Because like before it was just regular Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the side scroller beat 'em up, and then the movie version that had the 2-player option. And
I love the movie one. I love that one so much.
It's so good, but there's no Zord battle in it. When you beat Ivan Ooze, that's it. There's no Zord battle.
Yeah.
Wait, you're talking about the fighting edition, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, as fighting Ivan Ooze in the second game, the movie one, don't like his palace is exploding at the end, and the Ninja Megazord comes in and saves you, and that's the only Zord in the game. Like, you don't even do a Zord battle with Zed or Ivan Ooze. It was kind of weird. So I think it's probably because they were working on this one at the time, and that's where they just put all their effort into towards the end. But it's if any of you guys are out there like that are Power Rangers fans or you like fighting games, this is definitely a game just to at least try. It's a very low roster. There's only 8 characters in the whole damn thing.
If I remember correctly, Ivan Ooze is broken as shit. He's like the Akuma broken levels.
Yes, that's right because he's an unlockable character in that.
Yes,
and he's not available at the beginning.
Yeah, I remember him specifically being like so busted anyone could win for free with him.
Well, I mean, he is a boss character, and like, look what happened when you played as Thanos or Doctor Doom in, Marvel superheroes on the PS1. Look how broken they were.
Nah, screw that. I used Anita.
She's cheap as fuck. She literally has a Kuma like behind her when she fights and shit. It's crazy.
99 hit combo, just like that.
Yep. And what was the reason for Anita was she was like just a test thing, right? Like to test the characters.
Yeah, she was a test model.
Yeah, and like the Street Fighter 2 version of Akuma popped out behind her once in a while. That was great. It was like one of the, that was like when fighting games had really cool Easter eggs like that shit. But yeah, the Power Rangers game, guys, go out and play it if you haven't. Anybody listening, it's definitely something you got to play. It sucks that you can't play it online with your friends because I know we would be playing it and stuff because Jeff and I are big Power Rangers fans and Curtis liked the first season of the series anyway. But also go play Battle for the Grid too. Go give them some money and love because that game's really fucking good. It's like literally such a fun 3-on-3 fighter. I love the damn thing. I cannot wait for more characters.
I do want to give a quick shout out to well, it's not necessarily that it isn't hyped, but if I remember correctly, there is actually a pretty legit Sailor Moon fighting game. I think it's Sailor Moon S.
Oh yeah, you had me download that a long time ago or something like that.
Yeah, because like the thing of it is, it's fucking Sailor Moon. Well, it's awesome. Sailor Moon's awesome either way. But like the fact that this fighting game just out of nowhere in like 2017 and 18 had like a resurgence, and even like I think it was Evo 2018 even had like a side tournament for it. It's just nuts how many people just were like, damn, this is actually legit. The only reason why I didn't put that up there is because I don't have much experience with it, and 2, there's actually some decent hype for it as of late. So,
All right. Moving on, we've got favorite fighting game character. Jeff, what's yours?
That's a tough one to narrow down, but when it comes down to it, I don't necessarily like what they did with him in SF5, but I'm gonna go with Alpha and Alpha 2 Nash.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily like Frank and Nash, but I do like. Well, I'm sorry, he was Charlie back then. I do like Charlie, and I did think that Alpha and Alpha 2 and Alpha 3 did a great job of giving you guile without giving you guile.
That's very true.
So,
plus, he was good. He was good in X-Men versus Street Fighter too. I liked him in that.
Oh yes, he was. And then I'll never forget the first time I played as Shadow in Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter.
Oh yeah.
and then did the final mission on somebody, and it was just so cool to see. He just knocks them up into the air, does a raging demon, and lands, and it's just a big explosion. It's so cool. But yeah, I'll definitely go with Charlie or Nash. I mean, his Japanese name is Nash. His canonical name now is Charlie Nash. So
Yeah.
let's go with that.
What even happened for him to be Franken Nash or fucking whatever?
He was resurrected by the Illuminati.
Okay, that's all you have to say.
Yeah, they didn't explain why he has like he did that. Like I don't know like how badly Bison burned off his face and body or whatever, but because I thought
he
you
was
know.
he was just decaying. He was decaying, and they stitched him back together for some reason because I didn't understand how that many bullets that hit him in the back somehow, severed his arm and stuff. I guess that must have happened on the fall down the waterfall.
it's literally like Chef's death from South Park.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But the Illuminati
basically.
brought him back to take out Bison. That was the whole Street Fighter
and he
5
did.
thing.
He did.
No, he didn't. Ryu did.
Well, yeah,
And-
Ryu did, but what Charlie did, he weaken Bison or something like that, like before he died.
Yeah, he gave up his life just to weaken him. I'm just sorry. I'm very, very angry about what they did.
Yeah, dude, that whole story mode made no sense with anything. Like there was no emotion behind the characters and everything like that. I mean, come on. Guile sees Charlie walking down the street that's on fire, and it's like, dude, that's your best friend you've been looking for to prove that he's not dead. How are you not more emotional about this? I know that you're a tough military guy and shit, but still, like, come on.
I just really want some kind of closure because I want them to just be done with it and tell us why the hell is Nikali a sheep? Like, why is Nikali some kind of devil sheep? Why?
I think it's best just to forget that Nikali ever existed.
He was supposed to be the big bad, and then they just threw him off to the side and said, "Nah, let's just make Bison the bad guy."
And it's not even that now. Like, it came out recently. The true final boss of this game was G. And I'm like, okay? Like, he's the true final boss, even though he's not like a bad guy? All right.
Yeah, that's
Whatever, Capcom.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, NetherRealm may screw up their games a lot and everything, but at least they know how to do a decent story with their characters for the most part. But yeah, this route they did with that was terrible. It wasn't good.
Let's just move on because that just left a bad taste in my mouth.
Okay, so for Curtis, for you, what is your favorite fighting game character of all time?
Captain Falcon, hands down.
I thought you were gonna say Captain Commando.
No, so reason why for Captain Falcon, granted he didn't start as a fighting game character, but in every Smash game, doesn't matter how good or how bad it is, I always have to play Captain Falcon because he embodies fighting games in a way for me because he is literally like the hero you want to see succeed, and his moveset in every Smash game proves it, especially the Falcon Punch. He just has that aura of when you play him and when you see him succeed, it just feels so good. It to me, I wish more fighting game characters were genuinely like that. Because granted, yeah, I do have other favorites like Thunder from Killer Instinct,
John
Lord
Talbane.
Raptor, John Talbane for his lore, but to actually play him is a bit different. But Lord Raptor or Zabel from Darkstalkers, the zombie dude.
Yep.
Like there are good characters and everything, especially like Sakura, Dan, and all that. But it's just like it's hard, except for Lord Raptor. It's hard to have the backstory of a character reflect of how they play. And the reason why I say except for Lord Raptor, because well, he is basically Captain Falcon number 2, but Captain Falcon has a bit more of a history. Like he's been around since forever, not just Smash, and he's just overall great. You know, he is a spectacle, especially in Melee. When you see a good Captain Falcon player, damn, it's a show. Like everyone roots for him, just like how his lore is. So, my favorite character, fighting game character, is Captain Falcon because honestly, he's just great.
He is. He's a great character, but it also makes sense. Like he can't because his bio is that he is a bounty hunter. So in some ways, he probably has to fight, obviously, once in a while when he's not racing. So.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's just the actual F-Zero series doesn't really reflect that. I
Nah.
think. I mean, it's been a while since I've seen the anime when F-Zero GP, I think it was.
Oh, the one that used to run on no, Fox, not Fox.
4Kids.
4Kids. Oh, 4Kids.
Yeah, that's the GP series. I think. Like, I think that anime might have dealt with it, but it's been delved into it. But it's been a while. I mean, really, the only thing everyone remembers of that is literally the Falcon Punch. And again, it goes to my point of like he embodies the hero we want to see win, and it's just the fact that his helmet flies off and he says Falcon Punch, and it's just boom.
He obliterates Black Shadow into like nothingness. And then just goes out. Dude. He goes out smiling like in a big heroic way.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
That's definitely a good. That's a good choice for a character because he's a lot of fun to play in the game in fighting games too. So
yeah, and all the Smash variants. Like, it's always fun.
There's always something to do when it comes, and his color schemes are pretty badass too. So I guess for mine, this is gonna be a super obscure one, I guess. But my favorite fighting game character of all time is Hornet from Fighters Mega Mix.
What?
That's obscure now. I mean, I don't know how many people listening actually have a Saturn. I'd like to think a few of them do.
I'm just kidding. No, I'm screwing with everybody. No, like that.
Oh, what's wrong with Hornet?
I know, right? So for the younger generation who don't know, or for nobody who owned a Sega Saturn, Fighters Mega Mix was a game developed by Sega that had just a crap ton of characters from Virtua Fighter 2 and Fighting Vipers. Plus, there was also there was other ones like the Polar Bear, Beam the Dynamite from Sonic was in it too. But Hornet was an actual fucking car.
It was from Daytona, USA.
Yep, Daytona, USA. Yep, and yeah. So for all of you who don't know, yeah, it was a fighting game character. A car. Now, I saw people making jokes about that, like if there was ever a fighting game character to be represented for Soul Calibur coming to the Xbox, because like every back when Soul Calibur 2 came out, there were different characters for different consoles, and it was just like, oh, how crazy would it be if they just got one of the Forza cars just to drive over somebody? That would never happen. And I'm just like, oh, it happened.
Was it Fighters Mega Mix that introduced Pepsi Man?
I don't think it was that one.
Or was it just one of the regular Virtua Fighter games?
I think it may have been just one of the Virtua Fighter games, the basic ones, or one of the later ones of the first one. But overall, for my real character, like my real number one character for a fighting game, my favorite one, Terry Bogard from The King of Fighters. Like, hands down, you can't beat Terry. And this was hard too because there was a lot of other ones on this list. But Terry just wins it. Because, originally it was going to be Guile for me. But I was like, nah, I got to give this to Terry. Terry's just all around a cool, fun, awesome character. He's fun as hell to play as in any game. And the fact that he made it into Smash was even better. And he's become, like, my best character in that. He's just...
Isn't he top tier?
He's... Is he? Okay, let me get the actual updated list. Okay. Tier
because he would have that
20.
I want to say he is up there.
I thought he was medium to high. I doubt this is actually like a legit one to go off of. Not League of Legends. I don't need League of Legends. Oh, that's why I put tier list, not like Smash tier list. Okay.
Yeah, it's just what do you call it there? I just love the fact that Terry's just this all-American character. He's just this guy that wanders. He loves video games. He's got a pet monkey.
We can never keep around.
No.
Always gets lost.
Oh, it always gets lost. Yep. And let's face it, Blue Mary's hot as hell, so he's lucky to get her. I like her more than Mai.
I prefer B. Janet.
And
What's her name? She has like her hair in her way.
Shimari.
Yeah, Shimari. She my bae.
I think that's her. That's the thing. There's so many fucking King of Fighters characters, but yeah, no, like I really just enjoy Terry. Like his basic outfit is awesome, but I love his Mark of the Wolves outfit most.
Mhm.
Like that outfit, the bomber jacket with the short hair. He's just so cool in that game, in my opinion. Like that was like where like he reached like the pinnacle of cool. And I was bummed out they didn't give it to him in Smash Brothers. I was really bummed out that outfit didn't make it in as a one of the alternate colors, honestly. Because
That's
characters
kind of odd.
huh?
That's kinda odd
Trust.
they didn't do that.
Yeah, and trust me, I think seriously once there's more modding tools like when Smash Ultimate basically gets a melee variant like Project M for Brawl did and all that. I think they'll add shit like that.
Oh
no
yeah,
doubt
without a
about
doubt.
it.
But yeah, no, he's king of the cool. And all of his theme songs are pretty freaking good, especially his one from King of Fighters 13. That was or whatever the last one was for the PS3. I think it was 13. That was really good. He's just a fun character. Love his design. And yeah, like I said, it was gonna be Guile. It was like a toss up between like Guile and Ken, but I had to go Terry. Terry was the way to go.
Since we were talking about Terry and Smash and all that, so this is coming from Zero. There is, of course, no definitive tier list for Smash Ultimate just yet, but at least from what Zero has stated and has shown, Terry is considered high tier, but he's not better than Ken and Ryu in this match. But it does make sense because those guys, they got some ridiculous shit in this patch.
Yeah,
Mm,
Ken and Ryu got actual combos in this one.
yeah.
Among other things, like Jesus, man. I'm surprised they did that. And the Pepsi Man thing was fighting Vipers.
Fighting Vipers, okay. 'Cause I'm like, I
Pepsi
know I have the
Man!
game.
Shit. Yeah, no, like I said, just all good choices, really. I mean, like obviously mine seems a bit more mainstream and stuff, so that's why I like the choices you guys had. Those are really good choices.
Most definitely.
Let's see. So okay, so favorite music tracks from fighting games. That's the next one.
Wait, is it as a whole or is it just like one individual track?
I mean, like like one track, like like whether it like from a specific game it can be, or just the overall theme if it hasn't changed too much over the years. Can't just go with what you want. Like name off the ones you really like.
Oh, gotcha.
So yeah, Jeff, we'll lead you off with that.
Since you're making me really think about KOF, I want to say Arashi no Saxophone.
Ooh.
I can't remember a time when Iori did not have a great theme. Like Iori's theme throughout since KOF 95 was the first time I heard it, which it might have actually been the first time he had the theme, but I remember playing the KOF I think it was one of the demo discs that came with the PlayStations at the time, and it had a KOF 15 demo on it. And it had that song playing, and it was just fantastic.
Hmm.
And then the runner-up would be hold on, let me see which one was this. Taiyo High School Classroom from Rival Schools.
That one I have actually not heard.
That the Rival Schools soundtrack was really well done. I mean, I'm going back to Rival Schools again, but the Taiyo High School Classroom, like the Taiyo High School had 3 themes in the game. They had the rooftop that you fought on, the classroom you fought in, and I believe the athletic field that you fought in.
Hmm.
All three themes were really well done, but I like the classroom theme the best. So yeah, so Arashi no Saxophone and then some Rival Schools music.
Nice. Those are good ones. Any other ones you can think of?
I mean, Guile's theme is always a go-to for everyone.
Yep.
Guile's theme is always a go-to. I want to say Sakura's Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter theme.
That's a good one.
I actually have the Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter sound OST. I bought that way back in the day.
Okay, I guess I know what I'm buying from you next.
I also have the Marvel versus Capcom CD too. Um, but yeah, I liked the fact that Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter changed a lot of the themes, but kept some of them the same. Like they added in Captain America. They kept Captain America's theme and made it jazzier.
Yeah, it was more a little bit more sped up.
Yeah, they changed Wolverine's theme because we had just had it in X-Men versus Street Fighter. They changed Wolverine's theme, they changed Cyclops' theme, they changed Ryu's theme. I thought that CD, I mean, I paid like $45 for it.
Oof.
Because the only place you could get those soundtracks at the time were at Tower Records in their import section. Yes, Tower Records. We used to actually go to places to buy CDs
That was
and
the
records.
Dear God.
Vinyl's making a comeback though. Like there's all kinds of stuff on vinyl now.
Oh yeah,
But-
like I like what was it? Like I can't wait to get the what do you call it there? The vinyls of like the Resident Evil games. They've been Capcom's been making those recently, and actually my buddy Mono Memory, who does a lot of done a lot of work for the Residents of Evil and does a lot of great synthwave music, he redid a lot of save room themes from Resident Evil, and he put them on a cassette, like an actual cassette. Children, I don't know if you remember what cassettes are, but he did that, and then he just made a record version of it, a vinyl, and sadly he got a cease and desist against Capcom, which we don't understand why, because they're cover songs, but you know, people have been doing it. Like vinyls have been coming back.
Yeah, it's but those are my my few songs that I've got on my phone. Like I have them on my phone.
Yeah, they have to be there. Those are damn good choices, dude.
Yeah, and then a good runner up, like a current song would be most of the stuff from Ruby on BlazBlue Cross Tag.
Oh yeah, they did really good with that shit.
They did. BlazBlue Cross Tag has a really amazing soundtrack, and I've never watched Ruby, but I play the characters in that game.
Same.
And I'm like, this game is I have to say that's probably the most underrated game out right now. I think, like, fighting game wise, is Cross Tag.
Oh yeah, no, that gets heavily on. Even like Under Night or whatever it is, Undertale.
Under Night in Birth is good.
that's got popularity to it. And let's face it, anime fighters usually don't get popularity that much.
Tony, did you just fucking say Undertale for a second there? I just realized.
Yes, I don't.
Why the fuck? Just because Undertale is a spin-off of Dragon Ball Z, that doesn't mean it's a fucking anime fighter.
Wait, what?
God damn it.
See, now I'm confused.
No,
I'm like,
I'm really confused at this point.
Okay, wait. Under Night is a French bred game, so they did Melty Blood.
Melty Blood.
So you've got Melty Blood, and you've got Under Night. You've got Arc System Works, and you've got your BlazBlue Cross Tag, and your DBFZ, and your Guilty Gear. And these are all good games. I mean, I for the life of me cannot play Guilty Gear Rev 2 at all. I suck at that game. I suck at DBFZ too. But they're really good games. Cross Tag, I think, is really underrated, and I think somebody who wants a game with amazing netcode and like just a good game to play, that's a great game to start.
Yeah, no, it is. I love it and everything like that. Playing as Yang and Blake is awesome. I love those two characters. So
I use Ruby and Yang, and then after the last patch, I use Neapolitan and Yumi from Senran Kagura.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Ice Cream Chick got in there. She's a dude. If you saw her in the anime, you'd understand why she's in that game.
Tank.
I probably should watch the anime, but I can't stand their English voices in the game. I automatically change them to Japanese because their English voices are cringeworthy.
The thing of it is, like, like it's a fighting game and you don't have much room to work with, and they probably don't give you a lot of chances to redo lines. They probably rush them through it sometimes too. So if you watch the show, the voice acting is a little bit rough at the beginning, but I think this was a lot of those girls' like first time doing voice acting. So as the series goes on, it's good. And plus, like, the first 2 seasons, the episodes are super short, like Old Red versus Blue episodes. They're very short. And then
Well, wasn't it made by Rooster Teeth?
yeah,
Yeah.
it was created by Monty Oyam, and he
Rest in peace.
huh?
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Yeah. And he did that with and then the other guys helped write it and did like a lot of the writing for it, or most of it, if I remember correctly. Because I actually know Monty's brother. I've been to their house here and stuff. Great guy. His brother's fantastic.
Look at this guy over here flexing. I know this guy. Oh,
no, he's just,
I've been to his house.
No, he's a great dude. Like every time we go to his house, he cooks for everybody. He's a phenomenal fucking cook. And all the people that are all the people that hang out at the place, they're all Ruby fans and Ruby cosplayers too. Even
oh really?
Yeah, and even Weiss's voice actress went there one day when she was here for like one of the conventions in Boston there and everything. I think it was like Fan Expo or Boston Comic Con. She was there, and she found out that he lived nearby, and I guess like the friends took her there. So,
oh, cool.
Yeah, like I said, he's just a super nice guy, and like Ruby. Like I said, I didn't watch it. I only started watching it 2 years ago because I did a giant Ruby shoot. So like I said, great guy, great group of people that are at the place too. That they're all like super nice, super chill. But you're right, like the music in Blaze Blue for the Ruby characters is fucking fantastic, and again, like for anybody who's looking for a new fighting game, get into Blaze Blue. I was a fan of like the original Blaze Blue when it came out, and like the second one after. I kind of dropped off from it afterwards, but this was such a good game, and the music is good. Moving on. So, Curtis, your music, your favorite songs.
I gotta pee.
Yeah,
like bad. I'm not even gonna fucking friend.
I'll just get a bottle, dude.
I wish I could get a bottle, but not. Like, put a pause on this fucking thing right quick. I really gotta go.
This ain't no Amazon warehouse.
Yeah, I know. You just can't stop this. All right. Well, you know what? While he's away, then I'll just do my favorites then.
Yeah, go for it.
So my number one of all time. This one is a no-brainer. It's Captain America's theme.
Mm-hmm.
Like every fucking version of Captain America's theme that they ever made in Marvel vs. Capcom, except for MVCI, because they didn't even use that theme. They went with a more theatrical theme.
Let's not talk about the soundtrack to that game because it's just going to make us angry.
Well, you know what the screwed up thing was? His fighting theme that we've known for like over 20 years was in that game when the credits rolled at the end, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Like, there's not even an option to put it like in when he comes in as a character to play as. Come on. But yeah, that version, Captain America's theme from Marvel superheroes and onward, there's never a bad one. I think all the versions of that are out there are great, and the people who do covers of it are I'm waiting for fucking Little V to do a cover of it. If anything, I might pay him to do one.
There you go.
Depending how much he costs. I know like years ago it wasn't as cheap because he wasn't as known, but he's worked on like games and stuff like that, like and everything. But yeah, that's a great theme right there that I love. Captain America. Ken's theme throughout the years has been pretty damn good. Mm-hmm. I don't think his 1 and 4 was as hyped up as his other ones. Like, it wasn't as rocking, but I really enjoyed something. I don't know what it was that I enjoyed about it, but I really did like that version. Of course, Guile's theme, you can't beat that. That's also in there as well. I love that. I think Jin's theme from Tekken 3 is godlike. The stage, the carousel stage in Tekken Tag Tournament, that was also good. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Yep. Like I said, for King of Fighters, Terry's themes were always fantastic. His themes were great. Oh my god, no one ever talks about these ones too. These were also like ones I considered for the list. And it's the theme songs from Dead or Alive 2 and 3. Those songs for some of those characters were like awesome ones. Like fucking Kasumi's theme was good. Ayane's was really good. Tina's theme was great in DOA 3. She had a great one in that. Hitomi's in 2 was good. Ain's in DOA 2 was great. But yeah, it definitely goes. The number one spot goes to Captain America's theme. That's my personal favorite of all time. That thing, every version I've ever heard of it is just fantastic. There's like a hardcore metal one on YouTube somewhere too. That's just like, it gets you pumped when you hear it. More so than the song already does.
Nice.
But now, as Curtis has returned from peeing, what's your favorite, dude?
Well, when it comes to music, like character themes and all that's pretty good, but I actually identify more favorites overall with the character select themes, honestly, to tell you the truth. And I think the one that embodies it a lot for me is the first Killer Instinct. That because if you ever played on a legitimate arcade cabinet for Killer Instinct and you just hear that character select theme on those speakers and everything, it's adrenaline.
Yeah.
It gets you pumped up to choose a character and play the fucking game. Uh Marvel vs. Capcom 2's I Want to Take You for a Ride character select theme is fantastic. Uh thing of it is with Smash and later Smash games, it became more dynamic, so it's not really a set one, but like I think another one that kind of gels with me is honestly Darkstalkers 3 or Vampire Savior. That one's pretty good, and the alternate one is just as good as
Hmm.
the regular one. But if I had to choose a character specific theme, even though I personally don't like the game, but it's the reason why I bought it, honestly, Sakura's theme in Street Fighter 5. It really embodies the character pretty fucking well.
That is a good theme, honestly. Like her one in Street Fighter 4 was always good, and her one in Fighting EX Lair is fantastic. But fives, when I first heard that, like in the trailer, it was really good, and then like the song did get put on YouTube eventually before her character came out, and I was like, my god, this is actually really fucking good. And they did a
Yeah.
great job with this because some themes from Street Fighter 5 that were in 4 didn't transition very well. I think Cody's actually did sounds a lot better than it did in 4, and I love the one from 4.
Oh yeah.
Um, but yeah, no. Oh, so those are damn good choices. Like I said, yeah, Killer Instinct is just like really good because, and even like the later one, the 2013, Mick Gordon. Like, what else? What else do you need to say?
Well, literally, like the entire OST, even when Mick Gordon didn't do season 3, there's literally like 3 tracks that are bad. Like everything else is just like gold.
Oh yeah,
Mick Gordon or not, like the ones I'm specifically talking about are Glacius's theme, very dubsteppy and epic for like no reason. It's just whatever. Saberwolf's theme, heavy orchestra could have worked just like how how his theme has always been in KI 1 and 2, but it's just not good. And then I can't even remember her goddamn name. She was in season 3, the vampire chick.
oh
Uh
yeah.
I can't even remember her name. Like I never used her. Like I've seen people play her. She's a pretty good character, but she's just forgettable.
Mm. I guess say
Um
TJ Combo's theme in 2013 is very good too.
oh yeah, did you know that okay, so speaking of like music and all that, and especially Marvel 3, remember the UMVC 3 hype video War, and I forgot what the other one was. That guy actually did TJ Combo's theme, the vocals for it.
Wait, was it DJ or whatever it was?
What was his goddamn name? Hold on. I could probably pull it up right here. Let's see. Omega Sparks.
Oh yeah, okay. I knew that name. I thought it was somebody. I thought somebody else joined him. Is what you were saying?
Oh no. Yeah. That was like an interesting tidbit that I found out. I was like, wow, that's actually kind of neat.
Hmm.
It makes sense because it's obviously the same fucking person, but I thought it was someone different.
Hmm. All right, so I guess we're moving on. This is a big one right here. Is what character would you like to see in a fighting game, or a fighting game character cross over to another game? So I guess Jeff will let you take the spotlight for that.
All right, so one of my favorite games of the past generation, not the PS4, not PS4, and I'm going back to PS3 and Xbox 360, was Splatterhouse, the re-envisioning.
Ooh.
Now,
God.
with Mortal Kombat doing all these guest characters, I would love to see Rick from Splatterhouse make his way into Mortal Kombat?
That would be interesting. I could see a lot of people saying, "Oh, who's this like this Leatherface or Jason knockoff character and everything?" Which, a lot of people don't remember Splatterhouse.
Well, that's their problem.
Yeah, but that's also the beauty of a guest character is reigniting that love of that character from people who loved them years ago and everything.
Yeah, a lot of people may not know Splatterhouse from the old TurboGrafx days or the Sega Genesis days.
Yep.
But if you just go back to the remake that they did in it must have been 2010. That remake took what was great about that generation of games, which was 3D action adventure, and took the gore, the metal, like everything, and kicked it up notches.
Yeah.
And the design for Rick was simple but badass. Like the terror mask, when he finally transforms and he goes all crazy using his limbs and his bones and everything, like you can compare him to like Lord Raptor when he starts whipping ass and changing. Like he used his ribs, his like his forearms, everything. He was awesome. And I think he would have been a great fit in Mortal Kombat just because of the gore factor. But I had to think about that because I personally loved that remake as a Splatterhouse fan, and it was definitely a love letter because the game was rated M for mature for a damn good reason.
Yeah.
It was over the top gore, it had nudity, it had everything that a hardcore game should have. Yes, it had nudity. Like you could unlock pictures of Rick's girlfriend that she sent him on the cell phone. Like
baby.
you could unlock pics of his girlfriend to look at. Like it would be like subtitled like Halloween party or something like that, and it would have a picture of her scantily clad with her nipples hanging out or something like that. It was great because it gave you this immersion into Rick's world as to she's a girl that he loved, like flat out. He loved her. She was his girlfriend. You're fighting for her. And the terror mask in that game had a mind of its own. It had a personality of its own. It would tease you. It would do everything in that game to mess with your mind as Rick. And like if you haven't played it, do yourself a favor. If you've got a PS3 or a 360, it's like a $10 game. Like it's a bargain bin game, and I can guarantee you will get some fun out of that game.
I didn't realize it was on 360. I only ever saw it on the PS3.
Yeah, it's on both.
Nice.
It's a multi-plat.
It was a multi-plat game.
Nice.
And I think that personally, he would have been an amazing addition to Mortal Kombat. So, yeah, simple.
That definitely would have been a good one to see. So yeah, Curtis, what's yours now? What do you got for us?
Well, as much as I want to state the obvious, like Geno and Smash, but that's for another time. I think, in all honesty, this is like coming out of niche, weird, out of nowhere, what the hell territory. Because I can't remember which Capcom fighting game it was. They had this like normal dude, and he was a joke character. And I kind of want to have, especially when it comes to like a combination of like fighting games as a whole, like I don't think it could work in Blaze Blue Tag Tournament, but I can't think of an exact game, but I would honestly, I just want to see it be fully realized somehow, is actually Arino from Game Center CX to get a fighting game character cameo in some way, shape, or form.
You mean
I don't know.
Norimaru?
Ardino from Game Center CX.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why. I just want to see it because like Adino has done a lot for video games with Game Center CX, and he does like fighting games. And to me, it only seems fit that he gets some sort of involvement as a character, even if it's a joke. Like I would personally like to see it because I'm not saying like put him in Smash. No, there's no fucking way. That's just dumb. But if you were to just even have him involved of like as a parody game trailer for Blaze Blue, whatever, it could work out just to give us Game Center CX fans a little something.
Hmm. Good one, yeah, and like you said, Gino for Smash too. That'd be a great one, honestly, because his moveset would fit so well into it.
Most definitely.
All right, so I guess for me, this is so far out there, honestly, because I don't think it's something that anybody's asking for, and I just want to see it because of my love of like 80s movies. But I would honestly like to see Van Damme's character from the movie Bloodsport in a fighting game.
It would be ironic to put him in Mortal Kombat.
I mean, I would like to see him in there because just like his character, like, because that was Bloodsport was like his first movie really that he starred in. So like, you remember how over the top like his acting was in that, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah, like where he gets like blind and shit like that. Like I don't know, like I feel like that could work for something like I don't know, like maybe like in Tekken or something, or like Mortal Kombat would be something good too. I won't say Street Fighter because he's already been in a Street Fighter game.
Well, the reason why I say it's ironic for Mortal Kombat is because Midway was supposed to make him a game, but then they basically made Johnny Cage to base him off it. They could literally do a dynamic to have Johnny Cage and him like literally lash out at one another.
Interesting. I never knew that.
Yeah, that's why I said it's kind of ironic. Like it would be ironic.
Yeah, like he would be my number one choice to have in a fighting game. Honestly, I think though, if there was anybody else, I mean, like I honestly, I've wanted like Dante in a fighting game for a while. That wasn't like Marvel versus like I would have really liked to have seen him in Smash Brothers, which again I think he's going to be in it if they're trying to market these things the right way. Then yeah, I see him being in the future. Or like everybody else wanted, which was a great idea, which Namco hasn't done yet, put Kiryu or Majima in Tekken 7.
They should have done that forever ago.
Oh yeah,
the freaking what's his name from Final Fantasy 15? I can't even remember his name, and I'm so mad at that game.
Noctis.
I'm sorry, Noctis belonged in Soul Calibur, not in Tekken.
Yep,
exactly.
I don't care. Like I've had people like try to explain to me like why he should be in there, and I'm like, yeah, but you don't get it. He's using weapons, and they're like, so like Yoshimitsu does, and I was like, Yoshimitsu has a sword, yes, but he still uses like varieties of like kicks and punches. Like Noctis is a weapon-based fighter. He's from Final Fantasy. He would have been better in Soul Calibur because. And people were like, no, that would be stupid to have him in there. And I was like, oh, really? Did you know that Cloud was supposed to be originally in the PS2 version of his Soul Calibur 2? People were like, what the hell are you talking about? I was like, it's the truth. Heihachi beat him out. Mainly because it's the same company that makes Tekken.
Well, yeah, and I kind of forgot why it was initially beat out. Because like I didn't play much of Soul Calibur 2 on PS2, but he is interesting. I will say that.
So yeah, that would have been. I said I think that would have been a pretty good choice. But either way, yeah, those are my choices. There's other ones too, especially like for Smash, and I guess like maybe too. They should have. What was the one I used to save for? What was the one I used to save for when Mortal Kombat X was out?
Oh,
what's the horror game guy that should have been in there but wasn't? But everybody else. Ash Williams. Evil Dead.
Ash Williams.
Yeah. Like, Groovy Bruce himself should have been fucking in that.
But apparently he's doing something else, though. Apparently there's a secret game in the works with Bruce Campbell and Ash Williams, so hint, hint.
We'll see about that. We'll see how far that gets, because, I mean...
That didn't go too well last time he did it. Do you remember Hail to the King?
Wait, you mean Regeneration? That was the last one.
Oh,
Regeneration was actually good. Like I will literally fight you for that.
isn't that the one with the little midget?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that didn't work out. None of the Evil Dead games were like that fantastic, but at least like they got him to like be in it and stuff like that. But still,
His
like,
voice was dead on. That's
yeah, it just
I
it sucks.
I
Like, you know, like that. You know, he called it quits on the TV show. It's like, dude, are you fucking serious? Like,
but
you're
he
gonna leave
didn't
us on
call
a...
it. He didn't call it quits. They got canceled.
Oh, I thought
Yeah,
he
it
They didn't get
did.
picked up.
yeah, it got canceled outright.
Oh,
That's why
I thought I read that he was kind of done with it because he was getting old.
No, he actually already had the next season's script done.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it's just like there was involvement with Stars well, for the most part with that decision. So
Yeah, Stars canceled it, but they still own the rights. So
Figures.
they can't make another sequel yet. So if Stars relinquishes the rights or if he decides to do something else, he can. But he can't do anything Ash versus Evil Dead.
yeah, that's why they're trying to push the video game thing. And yeah. And quick thing about Evil Dead Regeneration, it's literally the only good Evil Dead game, to tell you the truth. It's actually fun. It's
I
basically a toned down character action game like Devil May Cry.
I
Like,
kind
not
I kind of want to see like another Boba Hotep if we're gonna go into his acting ability. Like
Oh,
that
good
movie
God.
was fantastic.
Man with the Screaming Brain.
Gotta love it. So yep. All right. So we'll move on from there. Let's see what we got in here. So the next one is there's one thing. Okay. So yeah. Oh wait, no. I guess that one works into the whole stuff for like esports and change and stuff like that. So okay. So we said it. So I guess we're gonna talk about fighting games and like growing up, like, you know, like more so, like we'll get like a little bit more into what it was like playing them in arcades, like that feel, like, you know, like what it was like growing up then versus kind of like how it is now. So I mean, Jeff, again, like you're a little bit older than us, so like you got like a better memory of like the rise of everything. You were like more witness to it than we were.
Yeah, I was there when the telephone was invented. You know when the wheel came out? I was there, man.
You weren't there for the wheel. You're not that ancient.
Well, when it comes to fighting games, Street Fighter 2 was the wheel. So I was there.
It was the foundation.
But like when it came to fighting games in the arcade stuff like that, yeah, there was a culture. There was an arcade culture. That arcade culture still permeates to this day. Luckily, where Curtis is, he can go down to one of the best arcades in the United States.
Really?
Akihabara Arcade in Westminster, Colorado, is one of the best arcades in the U.S. It is full of Blast Cities, Megalos, Aero Cities, Japanese sit-down cabs. It is an amazing place. It has, I'm gonna have to talk to Brandon about this. Like, I've totally pimped your place out on freaking in a podcast, but his envisioning of the arcade is exactly what like we wish we had, like the Japanese Taito station, stuff like that.
Yep.
That is what they have in Westminster, and it's a bar too, so you know you can get your drinks. But that arcade culture still exists if you can find it. There's places in California like Don's Arcade.
What's the one in Chicago there? Galloping Ghosts and Ghouls or whatever?
Galloping Ghost Arcade.
Yep.
If you go to like CEO, my friend Justin runs Arcade Impact, and they bring all the stuff to CEO. Final Round, they have the arcade that Justin brings there too. Paradise Arcade, they bring their stuff to Combo Breaker. It's things like that. There's still an arcade culture out there, and online games do sort of make up for that. I mean, we can have our Street Fighter V lobby with 8 people in it, and there's 6 people that are bored out of their minds because they're watching this horrible glitch fest and rollback and but you still have that online and you can play it that way. But when you're growing up in an arcade, when you have to look at that guy next to you and you have have to think about, let's see, if I just spam fireballs his entire match and he can't do anything about it, he's gonna beat my ass out in the parking lot. More than likely. Like, it happened. It happened. People spent money to get their butts kicked in Street Fighter and stuff like that back in the day. But I grew up in that culture. I grew up in that whole thing where you put your quarter on the machine and you had next. You can still do that, like I said, at several places across the United States. And I think with the resurgence of online play and stuff like that, we lost a little bit of it. But if you want that, there are places like out here in South Carolina. If I just go like 15 minutes to North Carolina, there's Lost Ark. Lost Ark Video Games has one of the best groups for Street Fighter 3 Third Strike
Ooh.
in the nation. Yeah, North Carolina Third Strike ain't nothing to fuck with. But yeah, you can look around and you can still find that culture. I grew up with it. I still kind of miss it. Like I don't know what was the name of it. Stop Button Arcade in Hope Mills, I think it was in North Carolina. It's like 40 minutes away from me. I've gone there a couple times to play Third Strike. Street Fighter 2, they have Darkstalkers, they have Super Turbo. They have a lot of these, and you can play it on the cabinet, and you can get a feel for how these people play. You can get better. You can get pissed off and walk away. You know, that sort of thing, like you used to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, growing up in that arcade boom of Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat and Rival Schools and Soul Edge and Soul Calibur, Marvel Superheroes, it just kind of started going up. And then as arcades disappeared, we had to migrate online. I mean, Street Fighter 4 is probably the first game that I had played almost primarily online. I mean, I played it with people in Hawaii, but we played it primarily online, or we'd set up an event or something like that. Street Fighter 5, yeah, I've set up events, I've played online, I've played in the Capcom Pro Tour. But I think that thing about going to an event, like going to Combo Breaker or going to CEO or Evo or anything like that, that part of being a part of the FGC, that's pretty awesome. But that's something we were going to discuss later. I just kind of just went into it now. But yeah, I mean, I kind of the talking point we have right now about fighting games as a kid and stuff, I think we kind of went over that earlier when we were talking about our favorite fighting games.
Yeah.
So yeah, just saying that, the arcade culture was special. It was something that either you got to grow up with or you can experience for yourself now by looking for events around you, or there are arcades around you may not know about. I mean, always look for these sort of things when you move to a big city. But yeah, that's just me. I mean, yeah, that's it. I don't want to go on for an hour on something that I'd probably be repeating over and over again.
True.
So, Curtis, like, what's your memories of like some of the arcade stuff and growing up in that era versus today kind of deal?
Dead ass. We did. It wasn't really even an arcade experience because, like, at least locally, it was like the rec center just so happened to have arcade machines. They even had this big ass driving one. I can't even remember what its name. It was some sort of kart racer, and like, I never really had a true arcade experience. I'm not saying like the other times I played and random places, especially at the rec center, was an experience. But like, there wasn't people doing many quarter matches and all this other stuff. Like, I've mostly seen it from other people's perspective. But when it came to like fighting games as a whole, Smash Bros did it for locally. Like Smash 64, everyone was serious about it, and then when Melee dropped, it was like it went up past 100. It was like over 1,000 times. Like everyone was playing it. It was serious. But because of the area I lived, it's just like many people drop it, but we at least had a hardcore group that we played on a consistent basis until like 2010.
Mm.
Like we played almost every fucking day. Even when I was moved away, we still got together and played Melee. It was awesome. And it's just like that's the one thing I wish I could have experienced is like having not just a bigger scene, but being able to dive deeper into especially competitive Melee because like it was I mean, it was interesting what we had because we basically played tournament rules without knowing. Like we didn't like items on, so we just turned them off. We literally set at 4 stocks because it was pretty fair, and we didn't have a timer granted, but we didn't stall matches. We didn't do some bullshit. You know, it was like fast and very competitive,
Yeah.
and just we where I grew up in, that's all we had. It was Smash Melee. Everyone like the group that was left, we all played it every single day.
Nice. That's a good one. I guess like for me, uh, poof, I spent a lot of money on arcade machines for fighting games. I probably could have bought one of my own. I feel honestly, but one of the things is just like that. Just going to an arcade, like on Saturdays, me and my friends were on like the junior bowling league when we were like in elementary school. So every Saturday after we got done, there was an arcade that was attached to the place, and they had like so many fighting games up there. There was like Virtual Fighter 2, X-Men versus Street Fighter, Marvel Superheroes, and they had like other stuff, I guess, SNK stuff. There's freaking Metal Slug and Windjammers and everything. And then other arcades I would go to that were near me had a lot of fighting game machines as well, especially like Tekken stuff, and they had a lot of shooting games too. So those things like Lethal Enforcers and Virtua Cop, those were always, fun to play and waste a lot of money on. And it was just like amazing, just like, your parents give you money, they're gonna go into the mall and do stuff that they don't want you, around for, because you're just gonna be like whining to go and leave because it's true. And yeah, it was great. And sometimes my dad would come in and check on me, see me kicking the crap out of all these older kids at this video game and winning money, but it was such an experience, man, because like that's how you got good at fighting games when you really couldn't afford them on a console or whatever. That was where you got good. That's how you learned to play, and you played against people, and it wasn't just the computer and everything. I mean, obviously the difficulty for these games, for a lot of fighting games, were tough because they were supposed to drain quarters out of you, but playing a human was so different, and like having that respect, putting the quarters down. I did the same thing. I've actually told people the story, and they're like, wait, what about a quarter? Why are you putting quarters down? And I'm like, how old are you? And they didn't understand. And I was like, dude, that's been a thing even since like the 70s with pinball machines and stuff. And they're like, really? And I was like, yeah. Like, does nobody like teach you culture? But just like seeing all that and like that experience and like that, how fun it is, it's great. But yeah, the arcade scene has died significantly from what it was in the 90s, but much like Jeff said, there's areas that are keeping it alive, and a lot of barcades are popping up these days. And in Connecticut there's a couple. I went to actually one recently that had an MVC2 cabinet, and I'm just standing there, I'm like right in front of the thing, and I'm just like, it's so beautiful. And my friends, like, they're like, Tony, are you okay? I was like, yeah. And like, Mia and Ashley were like, are you sure you're okay? And I was like, yeah, I just need a moment. This is everything I've ever wanted in my life. I want this cabinet. Girls, cause a distraction. I'm dragging it out of here. Like, I just wanted it, man. It was right there. It was an MVC2 cabinet. And, just like going to those things, it's fun, because like you get to like play old timey games that they've actually fixed up, and it's great. And versus it now, it does suck. It's not as fun, I mean, yeah, sure, you can just plug your arcade stick in and boom, you're set to go. But I don't know, I just miss the arcade days. I miss being able to go. I miss getting, like in line to play games and put up a stack of quarters. Not even just for fighting games either, for like other ones. Like my friends and I used to crack hardcore in the X-Men arcade game. We'd all be at the thing, and our buddy's cousin, like, he would either be left out because he was the only one who didn't get there quick enough, or he would usually die first, so we would send him with the dollar bills to go back to the machine to, get extra quarters, because sure, you guys remember that game. That thing's a fucking quarter muncher.
Oh yeah,
It really is.
I remember that one. Simpsons and Spider-Man arcade game by.
Oh yeah, that's right. Those the Simpson one, that was a huge quarter muncher.
And Captain America and the Avengers.
Oh shit, I forgot about that one. Wasn't made by Capcom though, right?
It was made by Data East.
Oh man, there's a good company that like no one ever remembers. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I wish we had more like arcades were more of a thing. Like, people are like, oh, you can go to Dave and Buster's. And I was like, not the same thing. I mean, thankfully, companies like Round One are popping up all over the United States now, which is pretty good. Because Round One actually has like the arcade machines for like where like you sit down and then the other person has to sit down on the other side. Like like true Japanese style like arcade games.
Yeah.
It's awesome. But yeah, like that's just my experience for that. Like what I loved, and like I said, I wish we could get back, man. I really wish we could, but it's a different time now, I guess. But it's also good too, like that we have online games, because again, that's how I get to play with you guys.
Oh yeah, most of the time.
Yeah, so like that's a good feeling on that one right there. So I think a big thing to talk about now is like this is like the big topic of this, I guess, is the esports, the FGC, talking about things we'd like to change in games and how things are done these days. Because again, we're old farts, we're coming from a different time, and we're seeing the change, and it's not a change a lot of people really enjoy. So Jeff, why don't you take us off with that?
Okay, so I hate talking about this a lot because some people may not agree with me, but I think that esports needs to stay the hell out of the FGC. I think that it's done nothing but ruin what used to be an amazing grassroots system. Barring the Capcom Pro Tour or Evo or Combo Breaker or something like that, I think that a game like Street Fighter V has been messed with to accommodate esports and streaming and things like that, because you now have a game where everything's so aggressive it's meant for people to watch. Think of it as in changing the rules of football to increase viewership and make it more oh look, a touchdown, oh look, a touchdown, oh look, a touchdown. That's what people want to watch, right? They want to watch it going back and forth.
Or someone get hurt.
Or someone get hurt, yeah. Street Fighter V has gone to this place where everything is about being aggressive. They destroy I take it personally because they destroyed my character. In season 1, Nash was godlike. In season 2, they chopped his arms and legs off because they didn't want us throwing a sonic boom and dashing back and playing a defensive game. That's basically what they did. They said, we don't want you to have all these defensive options. We want you to have only offensive options. So that way, when people are watching, they're just watching offense.
Yeah.
They're not watching somebody play footsies. I mean, Street Fighter V has its space control and stuff like that, but the game revolves around you being aggressive. It doesn't. It's not like Street Fighter 2 where you could set up that trap, Sonic Boom, down fierce, or Sonic Boom flash kick. You got to play turtle style.
Yeah.
And as somebody who played turtle style in almost every single game, and then I played Nash, who I played turtle style, and people got upset. They're like, "Oh, you just throw a Sonic Boom and then you EX Sonic Scythe when I jump at me." Yeah, because you jumped at me. Like it's that simple. They took away a lot of that in Street Fighter V. I mean, a lot of people are going to disagree with me, but go watch high level play. It's all about the aggressor. If the aggressor gets in, it's set play. That's all it is. Street Fighter 3 was the antithesis to that. You got to play the way you wanted to play, and if you took that risk on the parry and you got it, you were definitely rewarded for playing defensively and for recognizing your opponent's patterns and stuff like that.
Yeah, which is why, like, something like Third Strike has been, heavily loved for years, especially when it got put on PS3 and 360. That's a big thing for people because it's fun to watch. Even as a person who sucks at Third Strike and doesn't really ever play Third Strike, I still love watching Third Strike matches.
Yeah, Third Strike is a beauty to behold, especially at high level play.
Yeah.
Just watching people bait each other's attacks or get that down parry into a combo, things like that. I just think that esports has ruined what used to be a fantastic idea and a fantastic game. And I look at it as the same as football. Like they tweak little rules here and there to make it more appealing to the viewer. I get it. You want those numbers. But at what cost?
Exactly. Because it's much like when a gaming company decides to step in and not trust the developers and be like, well, we know what is what, but they don't know what's what. They're so detached from what people want or anything. They're only thinking about the dollar signs. They're too afraid to take chances, so they'll take chances. And it's just like, no, you're a bunch of old dudes running a company from a business aspect. You have developers who are understanding of what these games are. And yeah, like Street Fighter V, that was heavily forced by esports. Look at its launch. Its launch was abysmal. Its online barely functioned, and its roster wasn't even that good. And the only reason why it continued like it was and got the support it did wasn't because it's a brand name and it's Street Fighter V. No, it's because of esports.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, Street Fighter V ain't that fun to watch. I got more out of Street Fighter 4 matches back in the day because those were great. Crazy shit happened in those things. But Street Fighter 5, I don't really see a lot of amazing matches at tournaments, honestly.
No, you see exactly what you would think you would see. You see set play.
Yeah.
Street Fighter 4 did have set play as well, but you had more options. I mean, the focus attack, dash cancel, red focus, those were things that if you used properly, they would give you that advantage while you were on defense. You suddenly turn the tide.
Yep.
Street Fighter V does have its defensive mechanics. You have the V reversal. Some V skills can be used defensively. But a lot of them are nerfed or easily baitable.
Yeah.
Like, it is not the same as having your alpha counter in the alpha series, where it was an instant turn,
or even like another counter versions from like Marvel superheroes and all them.
Yeah, it's a completely different idea. As a Nash player, my V skill and my V reversal were almost the same damn thing. Like, oh look, it's an escape. Oh, look, it's been grabbed. Oh, look, I'm back in the corner and set play resumes.
Yeah.
And, oh, look, I have an EX that I can use. It's not as invincible as, say, using Ryu's EX Shoryu. That's true reversal. You can use that as your ace in the hole. It will hit a majority of the time. But then you have a character like Nash who can't do that. But then you have Guile who can. You've got the EX flash kick. So I'm sorry, I'm just really I'm still really salty about what they did to Nash. But
Rip Nash.
But I mean, this is the last version of the game we're gonna get. This is Champion Edition is definitely the ending of Street Fighter V. And Street Fighter 6, as we're supposed to talk about what they can do better or fix for Street Fighter 6. One thing they need to do is listen to the goddamn fans.
Yep.
If we tell you the netcode is crap, do not come to us 4 years after launch and go, "Oh, we'll fix it."
Yeah,
somebody else fixes it.
That was like, there's companies out there that do the rollback netcode and make good netcode in general, and Capcom for all these years just didn't do. I mean, like I said, like a lot of their fighting games have been like that. Like, look at Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Even on the 360, it wasn't even that good. Street Fighter Cross Tekken, I don't think that online was really that good either. Marvel Infinite's actually worked pretty decently.
This is where it pisses me off. It was discovered a long time ago that they could have easily implemented the Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite netcode into Street Fighter V because it is on the same goddamn engine.
Yeah.
It's been sitting on the servers forever. All they have to do is push the shit out with an update. But they won't do it. Like, why? Why won't you at least give us the option? Say, hey, we're going to try this. We're going to try pushing out the MVCI netcode so you guys can try it out. Let us know if it works better than what we're currently doing. And if it is, we'll use that and tweak it as we need to go along. That's all they had to do was communicate.
Yeah. And that's the problem. I blame Japan for that shit because they don't understand that what they have here right now, anything, is they're living in the past. They're not realizing, hey, you know that these fucking tours exists. You know that there's things like Evo and CEO and, you know, all those other ones. You know that they exist. And how are people going to play these games and get good? They go online. They want to fight other people online. They don't want to just fight computers because computers and humans are two different things. And you won't wake the fuck up and realize that, you know, you need better netcode. You need to stop just thinking about your own country. And then because, like, you know, like, I guess, like how it works, like, if, like, you know, for some of these fighting games, you play in your own country, it's fine. But you, like, play someone that's, like, further away in another country, it's a totally different story. Like Street Fighter, like the whole Brazilian Ken.
Brazilian Ken.
Yeah, the Brazilian Ken meme and everything like that. You fight somebody in Brazil, you're going to lose because the connection's so fucking terrible. And, you know, like, but they just want to focus on making esports this amazing thing, but you can't when you're taking away from the things that matter most, like the core essentials of games, the reason why we like these games. And, you know, then and also, you know, what I personally think they need to stop doing, like what they did with Street Fighter 5, they need to stop putting fucking ads in their fucking games. Anything like the Street Fighter fucking shit, like with the patches on the characters.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Yeah, the Grand Tour. Yeah, that was bad. It's just, you know, it's like I said, fighting games, it's one thing, but a lot of other companies, it's the same thing. Like, you know, you got to stop nickel and diming people. And it's like you said, the biggest thing is listen to the fans. Everyone's like, aren't you saying that it's bad to listen to fans? And I was like, no. You got to listen to fans and then compile what everybody's saying, because generally, if everybody's saying the same damn thing, it could mean that they are right about something. And it, you know, it's a no-brainer when it comes to the internet and everything. Like, you know, if it's netcode you're talking, why would you not want to have good netcode? So if everybody's asking for it, just give it to them. Like I said, for the time that I did play Marvel Infinite online and everything, it did run pretty smoothly. I still think, honestly, the best internet for a fighting game out now that we got is probably Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. That thing's fucking flawless.
I think Cross Tag is...
Oh, yeah, okay, you're right.
Skullgirls.
Well, Skullgirls is good.
I forgot about Skullgirls.
Fantastic job.
GGPO all day, baby.
It is GGPO.
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't that the one that, like, was it like Third Strike runs off of?
The GGPO was developed by I believe that was Tom and Tony Cannon, which is of Evo fame.
Yeah.
And I mean, we were using that on PC ages ago.
Like,
we were playing Third Strike and Super Turbo and Darkstalkers and stuff on GGPO, and then we were playing it on Fightcade. Uses the same open source as GGPO. Fightcade is still a thing, and it still runs really, really well.
Damn right it does. We've played it.
As it comes down to it, you've got people who specifically work on these things in a AAA company. Capcom had probably one person jerking themselves off with a potato going, this'll work, and it just didn't work. I know there's some mental imagery for you right there.
I literally thought of it as you were saying that. I was like,
you would.
I could see that.
But honestly, like, how do you let a game go this long and make it your flagship title and not fix it?
Yeah, nobody's
And-
impressed by what you're doing. Like, oh yeah, we're giving you characters. Great. A lot of characters people didn't like.
Who the hell sat there and goes, "Hey, I need Seth in this game. Hey, I need Gil in this game." Nobody sat there and said that. Nobody said they wanted those characters. The only reason we got Kage and we got Gil and we got Urien is because they're recycled. I mean, Urien wasn't technically recycled, but Gil is using recycled Urien animations. Cody is using recycled Ed animations.
Yep.
Ken V Skill is using recycled Laura animations, recycled Colleen animations. Everything is a recycled fucking animation, and it's just put into another character. Why are they pushing this character out? Because they don't have to do any development in it.
Yeah,
You have to do development on the voice acting. You have to do development on the theme, but not on the character animations. And that's something that you can see when you look at Lucia, when you look at Cody, when you look at Ed. You look at all these characters and you go, "Hey, that's a reused animation."
exactly. It's like those. It's like when Nintendo said they weren't reusing animations for like the latest Pokemon Shield and Sword games, but it turns out they were because people found side by side shit.
Yep, side by side comparison.
Yeah.
Pokemon Sword and Shield is shit, man. Don't even get me started on that.
I honestly, I thought it was a good return for somebody who's been away from the series for a long time. I liked it. Like,
you know what's a good return? Gen 5. Just saying. Next game.
But yeah, you got a lot of reused animations in that game, and like Seth pisses me off more than any other character because they're using animations from other games.
Yep.
You've got
Darkstalkers!
JoJo animations. You've got he even says Cradle. Does Seth says Hell's Cradle instead of Demon Cradle? You're like, what the fuck? You're using Dimitri's move. Can't you at least say Demon's Cradle?
Yeah, like you own the character. It's not like you're gonna get, like a company's gonna come after you for saying it or something like that. Like, come on.
I mean, I know we can't hear Seth go ora 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 ora, but it's different. But he's reusing animations from other games, and it's so friggin' weird that they did that.
Yeah. I feel that like they've really dropped the bomb with Street Fighter V, and it's gonna be a hard comeback. And here's my thing. This is one of the big things when it comes to like all this stuff too. I want to see esports change. I mean, it won't because people with money are running it. And they don't actually care about the spirit of the FGC. They just see the dollar signs. And if that's the case, then the thing I want to see in our future games is, I want Capcom to fucking take back their games and just be like, fuck the money. This is what we're going to do. But the big thing is, I want to see better character models. Honestly, I was not impressed by Street Fighter 4's, their 3D models, like that style that they chose to do. Was not a fan of it. And then this time around, Street Fighter 5, whoever decides that they need to figure out how to do anatomy the right way, because when best case you can see this from, you play as Rashid, and when he wins and his win pose is where he brings both his hands across and everything like that, like he does that cool thing. His hands are so much bigger than his head.
well, I can tell you there is a reason for that. The reason for that is so that you can see it clearly. The anatomy on the hands and feet, they've been doing that. Yeah, Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter 5 are very guilty of this, but it's so that you can clearly see them when they're doing their moves. Yeah. And with Rashid, you still can't clearly see it. Like his moveset is just like, it's all about deception.
Yeah, deception and speed and everything like that. So
yeah. But I laugh when you bring that up, because when Nash wins, which is kind of rare these days, but when Nash wins, he puts his hand up above his face.
Oh my god.
And he's got these giant sausage fingers.
Yep.
And it just annoys the hell out of me that he's got these giant ass sausage fingers in front of his face.
Yeah. It's just like the whole thing to me is just it looks ugly. Let's face it. You go back now, obviously Street Fighter 2, not the best looking game, but it still looks good and everything like that in some way, shape, or form. You gotta respect from the era that it came from. But when they started adopting the sprite work animation for the Alpha series, that anime style, and into even Third Strike, It's fucking beautiful. Like, that stuff was great. Like, sprite work has always been good. And then you look at things like King of Fighters. King of Fighters always looked good in their fighting games, but when you got to King of Fighters 13, or whatever the one that was the last one that came out on the PS3,
King of Fighters 13.
it was 13.
Yeah,
Okay, it was 13. Yeah. That game, from its graphics on its characters and the backgrounds, are fucking nuts. I mean, you can even say that about Capcom versus SNK 2 or anything. That's another one that has a great example of great sprites and everything. Yeah, sure, they might be imported over from other games, everything, but they clean them up. They make them look a little bit better. Although I think it was CVS 1 that they didn't look that better though, because they didn't clean them up or something, if I remember correctly. But either way, like, I want to see the old style come back, or at least just do what fucking Arc System has done with Dragon Ball and Guilty Gear. Because Guilty Gear, like, you go back and you play those ones on the PS2, like Accent Core, or Guilty Gear Plus, XX Accent Core Plus, or whatever it was. That game is fucking beautiful to this day. Again, like, it's the hand-drawn stuff. Skullgirls, look at how Skullgirls is done. Everything. That animation style is beautiful, and
that ass though.
That ass.
That's why I like cross tag so much. I am not a huge BlazBlue fan, but when I played BlazBlue Central Fiction, I was like, hey, this is something. This is a beautiful game to look at. The netcode was really good. My friends got me into it. I'm like, okay, I'll play Central Fiction. Cross Tag came out and my friends were like, hey, you need to play this game. I'm like, well, I like BlazBlue a bit. I love Persona. Under Night I hadn't played all that much. So I was like, okay, let me give this game a shot. The netcode was flawless. The characters were so beautiful and well done. And that's what I got to give Arxis games. They're so good. I mean, Dragon Ball Fighters, I'm not a big Marvel type game fan. Like, I can't play those games because I can't pay attention to everything on the screen at once. But Dragon Ball Fighters, for the aesthetics alone, if you're a Dragon Ball fan, it is like playing the goddamn anime.
If you are sadly a Dragon Ball fan still.
Shut up! You shut your mouth.
You shut your whore mouth. But after all these years, I still watch Dragon Ball. Like, I still do. And Dragon Ball Super, if you can get past the horrible animation that they did at the beginning of the run, where they kind of redid the movies in really horrible format, when it comes up to the Tournament of Power and stuff, some of that animation is top notch in that anime.
Oh god, yeah, that shit's like insane.
And then you look at the fighting game that they made, it is beautiful to watch in motion.
And that's the thing. That yeah, you're right. It's not only beautiful to just to watch it in motion, but it's a fun game to watch in high level competition.
Yeah, it is. When you see two level 5 supers clash, you're like, wow, what is this? It's the anime. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, it is. Like, this was like, I mean, sure, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, that was great because it gave me the thing I've always wanted to do, and a lot of us. It gave us the chance to do, like, create ourselves in Dragon Ball and use the techniques.
Mm-hmm.
But Dragon Ball Fighters, that was just a game where it's just like, hey, we're going to make a game for the fans, and we understand the source material for this shit, so we're going to make them happy, and in turn of making them happy, we're going to be able to make money. And what have they done since the game's been out for, what, like 2 years now? 3 years? They have given us characters that nobody has really questioned. Okay, except for when they keep adding Gokus to them and stuff like that. But
yeah, I got an issue with that. I'm tired of having to pay for a new version of Goku. But
we'll get ready for Ultra Instinct Goku in the spring.
I mean, we got a brand new character in Kefla.
Who's awesome, by the way.
She's broken as all fuck, though. She's broken as fuck. But that is a unique character that fits the game, fits the universe, fits exactly how the game is played. She's speedy, she's damage heavy, she's combo heavy. I mean, she's got touch of deaths like all over, but she makes the game fun. So yeah, it's just stop giving us different versions of Goku and Vegeta. Like, I understand that is the series, but
But we have
How about
we have other great characters.
yeah? I
Master
mean,
Roshi.
Yep.
yeah. Where's new Roshi? Like Roshi was God in friggin' Super's Tournament of Power.
That's what I've been
That
telling
was-
Curtis.
Like watching him break his limit. That was amazing.
And
Like,
almost dying.
yeah.
Like he went up against Frost, the fucking Frieza counterpart, you know? So
Yeah,
like
he wow.
yeah. Like
Yeah, give me Roshi. Give
Well,
me Roshi, and I will buy that. I will buy that season pass.
yeah, and that's one of the things about that's like one of the only few things stopping Dragon Ball Fighters from being even better is the fact that they keep giving us Goku characters. And I think the Dragon Rush thing is a little bit much, but I think that in the newest patch, like they changed it so that's like not as prominent as a thing to do.
Yeah, they did nerf it. I mean, it is much easier to react to now. I mean, in the first season, they're like, oh, you can stop Dragon Rushes by down. I think it was down C or something. Like that was your anti Dragon Rush. But it was so hard to react to online.
Yeah.
So people could just spam Dragon Rush, and it was eventually it would get you in a combo, and it was it. It was done.
Yeah. And you know, like I said, with how Fighters is, like I said, the two characters that they do need the most, I think right now, is Hercule and Master Roshi. Which if we get Master Roshi, then Curtis will come back and play, he says.
Oh yeah.
But it's true though, like, you know, and people are like, well, how would Roshi be in there? How would he do a Dragon Rush? And I'm like, you could literally have him like fly on the turtle, like the turtle just like comes out from underneath him or something like that, and he spins towards you, or he uses his staff and pole vaults and everything to rush at you and everything, something like that, you know. And they're just like, oh, that's a good idea. I never thought of that. It's like, yeah, and think of all he knows, like the evil containment wave. His level 3 could be where he powers up to like the max Kamehameha, where he gets like super buff. Everything. Like you have so many things, and like an alternate outfit for him could be Jackie Chun. Again, you have options for that. And Hercule, people are like, well, how's he going to do that? He can't even fly. And I'm like, did you not play the Budokai games? He's got a jetpack. And they're like, well, he can't shoot energy blasts like Videl can. I was like, well, technically Videl can't shoot energy blasts either. They just gave her that ability in this game. But, you know, he could throw rocks. And they're like, throw rocks? I was like, he's thrown rocks before. Have you never played a Dragon Ball game before this?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's something where I don't think they want to spend the development time on it. Honestly, they don't want to do it. But if they give you that, like, I didn't buy the second season pass.
Yeah,
I did for cheap.
I no, I didn't or anything. I didn't buy it myself because I don't buy season passes because I guess this is something that also we should talk about too, is something that they need to stop doing is season passes, because they could make something and you pay $30 for a season pass or $40 for one, and they might not actually honor the money. It's like, oh yeah, you know what? We're not gonna do this anymore. We're not gonna be releasing this because we realize that the game is dead, yada yada yada, you know, that kind of thing. And I'm thinking to myself, and that could happen because look what happened with things like, you know, Final Fantasy 15 when obviously those were going to be free, I think, but they dropped those last two DLC episodes. They weren't going to do them anymore. They're like, now we're done. We're going to move on.
I think what was the last one that didn't count in the season pass? I think it was Arden, like episode Arden.
I think so.
And I'm like, I bought the season pass and then I didn't get this. And then they brought out the Royal Edition or something like that. And I'm like, so I don't get the Royal Edition stuff either. I got to buy more. The fuck, guys? Like,
yeah. So, you know, like I said, with season passes and all this stuff, it just, I don't buy into this. I think season passes are stupid because here's the other thing too. What if the game comes out and it sucks? Like, what if, like, people don't get, like, you know, reviewers don't get early access to this thing? What if it's like a Star Wars Battlefront thing where you buy the game for $60 and the season pass, or let's say it's like $40, you get the game and it's broken as fuck or it's dumb and you're just like, you know what? I'm not waiting for them to patch this game. We don't know if it's ever going to happen.
Okay, there is a game like that right now on the marketplace that just came out. It's sold so many copies already. Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. This game pisses me off so much because they released the game in Japan and in Asia, and it sold tons of copies. It sold amazingly overseas. They bring it to America a month later, and it's already got the fucking DLC. Like, you buy the season pass for an extra $30, you're paying $80 for this game, and I think the DLC is already out.
Oh, so it's almost like a Street Fighter Cross Tekken thing where the thing's already fucking complete, but it's locked on the disc in some way. I mean, it's obviously not locked on the disc, but you're saying the DLC for this game is already out, like it's already pretty much done, but the game came out.
I think, yeah, like I can't be 100% about this, but I believe like three of the characters are already complete.
Ugh.
Like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I am waiting for a final version of this game. I really wanted to play this game too. I played the beta and I loved it. I love how the game looks. It's beautiful to look at, but I can't do this. I am not spending $80 on another fighting game. It's not happening. I'm sorry. Yeah.
It did release DLC for Best Girl on Grand Blue.
Yeah, I can't do this. I cannot be spending this kind of money. Not when you've got other games coming out. FF7, I am spending $80+ on for the digital deluxe edition.
I spent over $300.
I know some people spent a lot more money on FF7.
I wanted that bike.
I didn't want to spend that kind of money for another Cloud Hardy Daytona.
Yeah, like, I did that. I hate myself.
I mean, I kind of sit here and I go, maybe, but if I sell some stuff, I still need to buy a PS4 Pro to replace my PS4 that's sitting here. I want to play FF7 remake in 4K. Like, I want to see what it looks like in 4K.
Yeah, fair enough on that part. Yeah, because why wouldn't you want to play a great game like that in the best quality possible?
Like, I unhooked all my streaming stuff and I played the demo in 1080p and HDR.
Nice.
And it looks fantastic. And that's not even at max resolution. That's just in 1080 with HDR. It looked fantastic.
Nice.
I'm just fine with simple 1080p. I don't care for 4K.
Same, as long as my game runs and it plays fine, I don't have to get screwed over for DLC. Totally fine with that.
You know what? I'm actually fine. If you're gonna screw me over with DLC, for FF7, if you're gonna screw me over for DLC, I think me and Curtis touched on this earlier. I felt while I was playing the FF7 demo, I felt that it could have actually, if you give me a $20 multiplayer mode, I am all for it.
Hands down.
Could you imagine how much money they would get out of people if me, you, and Curtis could play through FF7 together?
You know, you know what? I would even throw in I would throw in 50 for that.
I would too. Like Comrades for FF15 was actually a lot of fun. I liked the Comrades mode. I thought that was good.
Yeah, like
now play the FF7 demo and imagine you don't have to switch to Barrett to throw out the thunder spell. You say, Jeff, throw out thunder. Boom, I throw out thunder, stagger, and we're good to go.
See, that's brilliant. I actually didn't think of anything like that because the way they're doing it now, it's not like a traditional RPG like it was back in the day. So I would actually be all for that in many ways.
Yeah, I was talking to another friend of mine. We were talking about FF7 and the demo, and I'm like, I was just talking about it. I'm like, this is gold. Give me the ability to have drop in, drop out multiplayer to where, say, Curtis has to go to the bathroom and we're in a boss fight. And all of a sudden, boom, the AI kicks in and takes over until he jumps back into it.
Yeah, like press like L3 to like let the computer go back to how it was or something. You know, it's really funny, right? Like ideas like these is something that companies don't think of. You know, they don't think of the possibilities of like the right when it comes to the right of DLC. Because a lot of people are like, well, like, how do you feel about like DOA 6's DLC and how they're handling it? Like you were defending DOA 5, and I was like, look, DOA 5 was one thing because at least they gave you a pretty damn good roster of characters to start with, and they gave you a lot of unlockable outfits to begin with. And the fact that they kept giving you more outfits for nearly 7 fucking years that game was out. Because you got to remember, DOA 5, it did have 3 iterations with, Ultimate and Last Round. But it still gave us new outfits. And it gave us new characters. They balanced the game the best they could. That was fine. DOA 6, they're making you pay for characters that existed in the last game at launch. Like Momiji and Rachel. I mean, they were launch characters. And now you gotta pay for that shit. And
wasn't there even DOA 5 on the 3DS, now that I think about it?
Well, no, that was Dead or Alive Dimensions.
Okay, never mind.
That was good. The story the story in that was kind of cool because they actually did a pretty good storyline for that, but it also contradicts a lot of things between Ayane's story from DOA 1, 2, and 3 because they retell the story of 1, 2, 3, and 4 in Dimensions. But it also doesn't, like I said, it doesn't.
On a tangent here.
Yeah, sorry. Either way, the DLC stuff though, for DOA 5, it's just hey, you're making us pay $1 to change hair color now? You're making us buy outfits that already existed in the last game? And now you got the balls to charge us for that? Why don't you start giving us some actual classic ones? And sadly, they did give us some classic ones from 2, but they were ones that were specifically made for 2, and they sexualized them even more than they did the first time. The first ones really weren't sexual at all. These ones were. So, DOA 5, again, that's just something that... Even Dragon Ball FighterZ was that they already announced DLC was what the characters were before the game launched, and MVCI did it too. It's oh yeah, pre-order this and you'll get Sigma, and it's are you fucking serious? He's done, and yet we can't get him at launch.
Yeah, that was really bad. I mean, I would honestly they said that they scrapped the extra DLC they were already working on. I mean, we're supposed to get X-Men down the line. There was rumors about that, and they scrapped it.
Yep.
And then I don't want to defend the guy, but Combo Fiend came out and said their functions. Remember that whole debacle?
Oh yeah.
He had to say that. He was working for Capcom at the time. He had to say it.
That's what I've told people. They're oh, he's a sellout. And I was he's working for a company. He can't actually come out and say, yeah, I wish they could have done this too. Which honestly, if I was working for the company, I wouldn't have said what he said. I would have been hey, I understand. It's a company, it's a business. Things aren't always as we'd like them to be, but we do have other characters that are like that, but it might not be the legacy characters we want.
Yeah, but you cannot give me Black Panther and tell me it's Wolverine. It's not gonna work.
Yeah, no, it's not, and you can't say that Iron Man's 8-way dash is the same as Magneto's.
It's not.
It is definitely not. So I don't know. I mean, you and I talked enough about this, Curse. What are some of the things you want to see change with esports or video games in general for fighting games or anything you specifically want from something that's certain? What do you want?
Well, we mostly touched on it about esports as a whole, but honestly, I think the biggest thing I really want is it's just video games as a whole. It does affect fighting games a lot at the time, but honestly, the mystery of playing and learning fighting games has been long gone since the day of the internet, to tell you the truth. But especially nowadays, whenever there's a new character release or new fighting game, everyone's figuring out everything because the data and information could be processed and given out just as quickly. I want there to be more mystery for fighting games and video games as a whole. To literally be the days of pre internet.
Residents of Evil,
so you want to go back to where we had I remember I'm this old. I went to a grocery store. I looked up my cheats in Game Pro, and I went over and I stole that by using the copy machine in the supermarket.
I would much rather have it be the days where you had to play the game to learn it, rather than, oh, I could just find a YouTube video and then learn how to do a character. Because that's how I personally process too, is by actually playing. Because you could literally put data and combos in front of me. It literally it does help, but it literally means nothing to me. I'd much rather learn the game by playing it. And again, it's more enjoyable, especially with people.
Yeah.
And
No,
you know,
you're very right on that, because we live in a world now where obviously games are more expensive to make now, more so than ever. And I get a company wants them to sell so they can make money, keep fans with them, and hopefully make more of what they love in the future. Problem is, the companies have lost their way. They don't know what they're doing anymore, and they're releasing way too much, like in trailers and information, and allowing demos to be played on PC and PS4 and all that stuff, where people can data mine them. Like, it's bad, and it's not handled you're right, like, it's not handled in a right way with what they're doing these days. They don't care that a game's gonna get leaked or spoiled or anything like that. People like leak shit all the time, and it's getting ridiculous. Like, this last Resident Evil trailer they did for like the Resident Evil 3, the gameplay was good, but I think they showed a little bit too much. And same thing with Final Fantasy 7. I don't think we need to, like, you literally could have only shown two cinematic trailers of Final Fantasy 7 and one gameplay trailer, and then that was it. You didn't have to show anything else. People were gonna fucking buy that. It just shows you how much how much faith they don't have in their own products, because they have to show you everything almost. Resident Evil 5 even did that. The final trailer for Resident Evil 5, everything, that thing had Jill in it, and it pretty much ruined the whole surprise. Devil May Cry 5, that launch trailer. Why the fuck do you need a launch trailer for your game? Like, that showed Virgil right off the bat, which you figured it was Virgil in the game anyway, but still.
yeah, because I mean, especially when it comes, character trailers are a bit different than like a story trailer spoiling something, but like, I want to say, like, promotions for fighting games, they do need to, I guess, adapt is the better word, but I don't think it's the right word what I'm trying to say. Because, like, the DBFZ season 3 trailer, and it kind of goes back to season passes. It's like they it's a giant marketing ploy. It's like, hey, you get this season pass and this is what you get. I would much rather be, this is what you can potentially get if you support it, but I don't want it to be like, this is the season pass trailer. Basically, I would much rather have a simple trailer of, hey, this character is coming to the game, and then obviously, of course, at the end say they will be only available in this season pass. But I think there could be a potential new model that could work, and Killer Instinct showed it, that it had potential, but it wasn't fully realized yet. The idea that you could literally play the full game of Killer Instinct for free was insane. Granted, you did change character rotations, but I imagine if they make character rotations change sooner rather than later, because I don't even think it was even weekly. I think it might have been weekly, but make it like even something as simple as changing it every 2 to 3 days does make a difference, where people could actually eventually try out a character and invest money into it. And it goes along with having that mystery, is like, well, how do you even get sold on the game if you want it to be that mysterious? But it does go back into the quality of days of yore, where they actually cared about making a finished product from day one.
Yeah.
Like, that was literally a gamble and a mystery. When you bought a game, you literally bought into a gamble whether it was going to be good or not. And fighting games do need to change their habits, because I think the best way they could still have that, to tell you the truth, without, other than changing marketing and trailers and whatnot, is honestly offering what Killer Instinct did. They offer the full game for free for you to try out a character or two. To literally try to sell people on it.
Yeah.
Like,
And
it's not hard to do.
yeah, and look how
Like,
good Killer Instinct did. Like, sure, it doesn't get talked about as often as it should. And there was that whole, like, bring back KI thing that was trending on Twitter, and they fucking know that people wanted to. Microsoft isn't stupid. Phil Spencer's just a jackass.
He is a bit of a dick, but I think You might be surprised with E3. I'm thinking if they really want to sell Killer Instinct more, I think the best option they have, especially with Microsoft doing these like Halo re-releases and all these other console games, is literally to do what they're doing with what they did with Gears of War 5. Release a brand new Killer Instinct as of this holiday 2020 with the new Xbox console, allow it for purchase and crossplay on Windows 10 and Steam, and call it a day. That's literally all they have to do for a brand new Killer Instinct game. Because Killer Instinct 2013 was a weird testing phase when they brought it to Steam. Because as far as I'm aware, I think I'm not 100% certain, but I think as of now you could crossplay with Windows 10 and Xbox One, but you can't with Steam users because you can't, you don't, there's no option to connect your Xbox account on there like you could with Halo Master Chief Collection or even Gears 5. So, and they've been doing pretty good, not just Microsoft, but the other people doing these porting jobs for basically to have Xbox One, Windows 10, and even Steam users play all in one place. And I hope that trend continues, not just with Killer Instinct, man.
It would be good. Like I said, there's a lot of things that need to change, and we can only hope that they listen. And unfortunately, the only way they're going to listen is by money. If they don't make the money, one or two things are going to happen. They'll never continue a game again, or they'll realize, hey, we understand people still like this, and this isn't what they wanted. Maybe we should bring this back. I mean, look how long it took them to get Devil May Cry 5.
Among other things.
Exactly. So, I don't know. I just think that there is a lot of things that need to change. I think we've touched upon a lot of good subjects for this because, let's face it, the world of gaming, gaming now is the biggest form of entertainment on the planet, beating out books, TV, movies, and even music, which is crazy when you think about it. It's also crazy
and prostitution.
We don't know that for sure. We don't the funny thing about this is, though, they say that this is like, like, oh yeah, this is how it is now. Like, this is like the biggest form of entertainment. And I'm like, well, if that's the case, why hasn't the PS2 been outsold yet? If gaming's really bigger than it's ever been before, why is this not been beaten yet? I think maybe because, like I've always said, like maybe because of the time of what do you call it there? It was also doubled as a DVD and music player. I think that's kind of why it sold so much back in the day. But
I think it's price point too. Wasn't it like the second or the cheapest console to buy at that time, wasn't it?
$250 or something like that? Jeff, do you know what the price was for that?
I want to say it was $199.
Oh, okay.
I want to say they brought the PS2 out at $199 or $249, like Curtis said. I know it was a really low price point for the PS2, and it made DVD the format. Like, I mean, we had VCD before that. We had VCD.
Yeah.
And it did not catch on. It caught on in Hong Kong and China and stuff. I remember, let's go back to that. Like, I remember watching Dragon Ball GT on VCD.
Laserdisc.
Damn.
And yeah, Laserdisc was right before that. But DVD became the staple media because it was in every PS2.
It was great. It was like a two bird, one stone scenario.
Yeah, it was. It was exactly that. That's exactly what they capitalized on with the PS3.
Technically, it was in the technically it was in the Xbox, but you had to get basically a DVD adapter and remote in order
you had
for
the
it to work.
you had Xbox did have DVD compatibility, and yeah, you had that. And then in the next console war, you had HD DVD going up against Blu-ray.
And guess what? The fucking one out of that.
And I mean, HD DVD was beautiful to look at. It did not catch on.
Nope.
And Blu-ray blew that shit out of the water, and we're still buying Blu-ray to this day.
Yeah, like what was the old red versus blue thing? And he goes, "We need to play it on our HD DVDs." It's like, what? It's like, why can't we just use our Xbox 360? Xbox 360? How did I miss versions 1 through 329? I gotta start paying better attention.
Yeah, I remember those
But
little
yeah, I mean,
campaigns.
esports is killing the FGC. I think it is. I mean, it's keeping money flowing with games like Street Fighter 5 and Tekken 7 still going really strong. And I mean, the Evo list this year, was anybody really surprised at the list that they saw except for MVC2?
Nah, not
MV-
really.
MVC2 was like the greatest thing. And honestly, I have a theory. As much as I want to say, like, I hope it happens because it makes sense for the game's 20th anniversary, but Melee for Evo 2021. I'm just saying, man.
I'm hoping more we get an announcement like before like the end of or whatever they're doing for MVC2 when it finally ends. They come out on stage, it's like, we got one more surprise for you guys. And like they put it up like on the screen that says MVC2 for next gen consoles. People will lose their freaking minds.
And it has updated sprite work as an option, not an only thing, an option that's done by either the people who done Skullgirls or they actually hire a legitimate anime studio to help them do it.
Either way, I'd just be happy getting the damn game back. But yeah, no, it's a possibility. But I don't know. It is like esports has changed things, man. It's kind of like how like cosplay, like being famous in the world of cosplay, and how what people are trying to do has changed. I mean, Jeff, like you've seen it too, right? Like there has got to be a huge difference in the FGC with its player base and everything because of esports, right?
It's not raw.
I mean, it's keeping people playing. I mean, like let's take Justin Wong for example. We know him as
ironically, I'm watching him right now.
that MVC, he's the MVC2 god, right? He is a god of third strike. He is, like, you look back, I mean, I may be biased about this because he whooped my ass, but still, it's one of those things where he's a staple player in the FGC, but he will go where the money is. He will play another game for the money.
Except he doesn't play Street Fighter 5 really, right? Or did he start playing that?
He played Street Fighter 5 and then he stopped. He stopped playing Street Fighter 5. You have not seen him in a top 10 like in the last few seasons, have you? Like, nope. I haven't.
He's literally playing Grand Blue Fantasy Versus right now. Dead ass.
Yeah.
I mean, it's true. He's going where the money is. I mean, granted, is Grand Blue Fantasy going to be big money? No.
It's already got bigger numbers at Evo, I think, than Street Fighter 5.
Grand Blue's got a weird following, man. Like, I don't know. I think it's one of those things where people just really like the characters. They don't know like anything about the series, like, or they don't play the actual games. They just love the characters to it. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Dead ass, man. There's a character with a hitbox on her boobs. It's the greatest game ever. There's literally the DLC chick. What's her name? Narmaya. She literally has hitboxes on her boobs.
So we got hitbox titties, so we're good to go. I mean, that's the future.
Oh my god,
it's so fucking awesome. I really want to play the game, but I don't want to invest money into it yet. But she literally has hitbox on her boobs.
Yeah, I wanted to. Like, I even thought about buying the import, like the Asian version, because it was in English.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's fully translated anyway.
It was fully translated. I thought about buying it a month ago, but then I was like, no, because then I gotta buy the pass with it. I'm not doing it. I will wait for a complete version. And I've been bitten in the ass way too many times. I mean, I bought BlazBlue Cross Tag. And BlazBlue Cross Tag gave you some of those DLC characters for free.
That's right.
I believe they gave you the Ruby characters for free. Like, they gave you Yang, they gave you Blake. They gave you, like, they said, okay, we weren't complete yet, so we're gonna give you these characters for free. And that's a good way to do it. The season 2 pass for them, it happened. And they gave you a decent amount of characters for the season 2 pass. Okay, we're moving on. But when you give us something for free, that gives us that idea to get in on the game, like Samurai Showdown did. they gave you that season pass 1 for free.
Yeah, it was actually pretty legit. Like, well, granted, you did have to basically, well, you didn't even have to pre-order the game. That was actually kind of cool. You basically redeem it before the game's official launch, and you got it for free because
I
otherwise
think
you would have to pay for it.
it was even like the first week and a half after the game launched, you could still get the season pass for free, I think. Like it was still up there. You didn't even have to own the game. As long as you went and redeemed that season pass and you bought the game later, you still got it.
Yeah, it was pretty legit.
And that was something that SNK was like, hey, let's do this for our fans for a game that we don't even know if it's going to sell well. It sold okay. I mean, we're getting KOF 15.
That would be
So
something.
it sold well. KOF 15 is already in development.
No, I'm. It's gonna be something when it actually drops because I missed out on 14 because I genuinely did want to check out 14.
I wasn't impressed
14
by
you
it.
can now get complete with all the characters and everything, and it's legit. It's a fun game. I mean, it's not the best to look at, but it's a fun game. I mean, it's got a lot of systems to it. It's cool.
Or I could just go back to 13.
You could go back to 13.
You could do that.
Yeah.
Possibility.
But when it comes to it, I mean, we kind of just lump the FGC in with the esports thing. And yeah, I've got a shit ton of stories about the FGC and stuff like that, but we can save that for another time. We can do a part 2 of this.
Among other things.
Yeah, FGC, we can do a whole nother part 2.
Yeah, I think just pretty much the bottom line, we just love to see things get back to how they used to be, like during that, like, you know, that 90s and 2000s era, especially like 2000s era of like fucking FGC and everything, you know, like just that time and where games came complete for the most part, you know.
I want that. I want complete games. I feel bad, but at the same time, I kind of don't want complete games because I do want the game to come out. I want the game to be in my hands. I get that. But at the same time, if I would have had to wait an extra year for Street Fighter V, I'm fine with that. Like, you gave us crap.
Yeah.
You pushed it out the door.
You can't expect people to, like, they're gonna, like, just because it's a brand name, once they find out that there's, like, a low roster of characters, and if someone data mines a demo and finds out that, like, you know, the net code is shit on it somehow from that or whatever, then, you know, take your time, because fighting game fans will wait. I mean, we went through the dark era of, like, fighting games for the longest time, through that, like, that 2000s era, really. You know, after, like, MVC2 and shit, like, what else did you really have? Nothing. Oh, yeah, like, the Capcom versus SNK and stuff, and a couple other ones along the way, but, you know,
That
it was
Bloody Roar on the GameCube.
Yeah, I mean, like, there was a dark era of, like, fighting games and stuff, and this, you know, with Street Fighter V and a lot of other ones that came out after, it was like a resurgence. We're getting fighting games out the ass all the time now. So, I don't know. I just feel that, like, you know, if things don't change, then we're gonna keep getting the same crap over and over, and I really hope that in the long run, that is not something that happens.
Yeah, it needs to stop. It does. The machine needs to stop.
It does,
Or slow the fuck down, man.
Yeah, I mean, like look at some of the things that, like, these guys have done. Like, look at what, like, Nintendo did, but, like, when they got Smash into Evo, and they're like, yeah, you can't stream that, and all the fucking hate they got spammed with. I think that
was a short-lived moment there.
Yeah, I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, why would you not want to stream that? These people raised money for breast cancer research and everything like that to get this thing into Evo. It's a huge accomplishment, and you won't let it be streamed just because you're not making money off of it? Like, if you just show support, if companies would show support for these games, everything, that would make it so it's like, shit, people really like this still? Oh my god, okay, so then we gotta work really hard for these future games to come out. Anything.
I mean, Nintendo still doesn't support the FGC. Nintendo does not support it.
No, they really don't. Like, because, like, they don't even have, like, a, you know, like, they don't have anything to do with, like, Smash at all. And it's sad.
And the moments that they did was, well, not only just with Ultimate, but it was like a weird. I don't even remember what it was.
They have this weird online tournament series, don't they, for Smash?
Yeah, but that's online, and we all know how Nintendo is with online.
which is really hit and miss because
I guess they never miss, huh?
like it is really hit and miss with the online for Smash. Like you can have really good matches, and then you
Sometimes,
can
yeah.
have really poor ones. Like it's really weird. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, it does. When it does work, it works. But when it doesn't, it's clearly like, damn, man, that was shit.
No, it's true. Like, they really, it like you can have some good matches, like I have, but when matches are terrible, man, oh god, is it bad? Oh my god, it's terrible. Like, and I feel like some at times, like, you know, comparing it like to something like Ultimate Marvel versus Capcom 3, UMVC 3 runs way better online than Smash does it at times.
Mm-hmm.
So that's telling you something. But either way, I think we'll stop here for now because we're going on actually like 3 hours now.
Oh crap!
This is literally the longest podcast I've done. Most of them have only been like an hour to an hour and 30 minutes and stuff, and sometimes it's close to 2. So this is
I'm
good.
Sorry, people. I'm
No,
sorry.
no. Like this is stuff that needs to be
stick around this long. Awesome. Like,
yeah, no, but this is stuff that needs to be said, man. This is stuff that needs to be talked about, and people can't be afraid. I mean, you know, you're worried that you're gonna offend people or make people mad that might be connected somewhere and everything like that. But in all honesty, like if you don't say the truth and you know you're not being a dick about it like other people can be, you know, we're just voicing concerns. We're old dudes that knew how things worked before, and the new ways just aren't working. And we know that for a fact that these things would work better if they just listen to people. So
that's all it really takes is a simple listen.
We're literally at this point saying fuck them kids and get good. Like,
yeah,
that's what we're saying. Like,
anyways, I mean, like I said, there are some fighting games out there that have done it right, and they're well received and loved. Like I said, Power Rangers Battle for the Grid is one of the best exceptions. That game is just so much fun. Even if like you're not a Power Ranger fan, like I know a lot of people who aren't fans of like Power Rangers, and they play it and they're having a blast with it. Because they start realizing it's just like, oh, it's not like the cheesy campy ones from the early 90s. Okay, like it's a little bit different. So, you know, there's that. So either way, hope things change in the future. Hope that, you know, they've learned from Street Fighter 5. They start going back and taking from what worked in old games to make Street Fighter 6 really good. And honestly, for future games too, like NetherRealm, they need to clean up their act because like Mortal Kombat 11 was hyped up as shit and that died pretty fast.
Injustice 2 was shit. Injustice 1 was shit.
You know, I really wanted to like Injustice. I'm not really the biggest DC guy, but when I saw that they fucking threw Ninja Turtles in there, I'm like, fuck, I want to play this game now just for the Ninja Turtles.
Mm-hmm.
And then I never did because I never buy it on sale though.
Alrighty, man, close it on out.
Yep, I guess we're gonna be closing up here today. So I want to thank my guests here today. I want to thank Curtis and Jeff for joining me on this very long 3-hour journey. Hope you guys found it enlightening. Everybody listening, greatly appreciate it. And guys, again, thank you so much for coming on and doing this. I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Not a problem.
So yeah, you'll probably see, like I said, these were two of the guys I talked you all about in the first episode that you'll probably see them on more podcasts in the future, along with some other friends of mine too. So keep it here, keep it tuned. Please thumbs up and subscribe because it's free. And in this day and age, free is a damn good thing. If you guys want to follow my friends that were on here today, I'll have the links to their Twitters right down below so you can go follow them and all the stuff they talk about and do. And with that being said, yep, thank you everybody for watching and, well, actually more for listening. And I'll see you all next time. Take care, everybody.